I went bowling on Friday. I sent you my score.
You did. What was it? 140?
It was like 140 or something. I don't know. Something like between 135 and 145. I just had to make sure I cracked 3 digits because we had that conversation. I think it was on Friday or Thursday about bowling. So, no, it was cool. I went bowling and it was just hanging out with the kids all weekend.
I will apologize for this. When you sent the score, you obviously were not the only person. You were with, I'm assuming, like a group of friends or maybe like other parents or something. I don't know. And so there was one letter that I thought was you. And I was like, why is he bragging? Is this a joke? And I was like, that's really funny, Bump. And then I realized you were the highest score.
Mine, I always put B, no M.
I clicked later.
Okay, it's all right.
Then I understood it.
How was your weekend?
It was good. Just lots and lots of packing of boxes. If anyone's ever moved, I'm moving really for the first time ever. Like I moved like into college or like into the place I'm living at now back in like 2013 when I had nothing to move. So for anyone who's moved a household, that's really stressful. This is my first time doing that. It's never ending. It's stressful. You don't realize how much stuff you really have. No, I think I'm going to have to get rid of stuff. Like I was packing up a box of things where I thought, I don't even think I can take, like I wrapped the top of it with tape and thought, I don't think I can take this with me. So moving is a nightmare. I don't recommend it at all. But that is what I've been doing all weekend. I ordered like Uber Eats for myself and brought it in and realized I'd sold my dining table. So I put it on top of the boxes and now the boxes are my table. This is a nightmare situation. Sorry. But
there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, which is unboxing and unpacking. Another thing that happened this weekend, the news of Cooper Kupp becoming a Seattle Seahawk. I'm so bummed. We were anticipating this news could break during the show. You had been hearing from a reliable source that Cooper Kupp had narrowed it to 2 teams and Seattle was one of them. So just behind the scenes, we were like, we think this news might break, and it might break imminently. Like it may be, in the early afternoon while we're on air. It was not. It broke during Wyman and Bob, but that means we haven't had a chance to react at all. And I have sound. I have a lot of questions, and I'm not done talking about this story. I want to figure out what it means first. Let's revisit what's been going on behind the scenes with some insight from Jeremy Fowler.
Well, Shay, the Seahawks really recruited Cooper Kupp hard this week. They put the full court press on him. They showed him how he can start his next NFL chapter and be great with their offense, how he can blend in with Jackson Smith and Jigba. He talked with the coaches this week. So Denver was involved loosely, the New Orleans Saints a little bit, the Cowboys checked in. But Seattle, I'm told, was really the most aggressive, and they had a competitive contract. So they're going to pair Kupp with Sam Darnold, and he's a Southern Washington kid. So going home, he had the local flair that the Seahawks could play off of.
Jeremy said they showed him how he can start his next NFL chapter and be great with their offense. Well, Bump, I want to know what that conversation might have looked like. I mean, if you were the Seahawks, what do you think you would have told Cooper Kupp about how he can help the offense?
Let me ask you this first.
Okay.
Have you ever described Yakima as Southern Washington?
No, isn't Yakima in Eastern Washington?
It's like Eastern Washington, yeah.
I've never been to Yakima, I've like the Palm Springs of Washington.
I've been. Right? So it's an interesting place. A little bit of everything at Yakima, but
I like people saying hometown of Seattle. Where I'm like, wait, no, excuse me.
Then he says Southern Washington. I've never heard anyone describe anything. It's either West, Central, or East. So anyway,
from SeaTac, and if someone said going to her hometown of Yakima, I'd be like, what?
Yeah, crazy. All right, but how would they recruit this man? I think he pretty much hit it. He goes, look, we can envision you in this offense with Cooper Kupp. JSN and Cooper Kupp together. You guys can be a dynamic number 1 and number 2, and we have a guy on the outside of Marquez that we feel like can hold safeties for you. Listen, Coop, it's going to be essentially the same offense that you've ran for so many years with the Los Angeles Rams. We know how to use you. We've watched your film. We know what you're good at. We know what you need to work on. You're going to be great in the run game. We have to run the football, and guess what? Mom and Dad can come see you 8-7 times a year. It's an easy flight. Granted, Coop got some money. He was flying his peoples out whenever he wanted to.
But now it's quicker.
But now it's quicker, and you got more people around you. You're selling the hometown factor, but then you're also selling the quarterback. And I think that was probably the biggest selling point. I feel like if Geno Smith were here and it wasn't Sam Darnold, I think Coop probably would have felt a bit more comfortable because all you're looking at is 1 year of Sam Darnold. And you can't ignore how he finished the season, but you also can't ignore how he looked for the majority of the season. So you're talking about the offense. You're talking about who you're going to be surrounded with. You're talking about the quarterback, the new offensive coordinator, but you're talking about home. You're going to run out the tunnel. This is your hometown. Your jerseys are going to be everywhere. The love that he is going to receive here is going to be wild.
You remember, I think it was SNL. It might have been like Mad TV, but Matt, maybe you would know. What was Debbie Downer? Was that SNL?
That was an SNL sketch. That was Rachel Dratch.
Yeah, who's phenomenal. But there was always this Debbie Downer sketch of like just someone bringing down the mood all the time. I saw a couple Debbie Downers. I did see a couple after the Kupp signing.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is going to happen with any free agent. No player that hits free agency is going to be this premier 25-year-old top of the line. Jamar Chase isn't hitting free agency.
No.
You know what I mean? T. Higgins isn't even hitting free agency. They franchise tagged him. And we'll talk about those new contracts later in the show. You're not going to get premier elite talent hitting free agency. It's going to be previously elite talent that's older, you know, maybe guys that had a breakout season that, you know, their team didn't anticipate. So it's like 1 year. It's going to be things like that. So I obviously saw the Debbie Downers going, why do I care about this deal? Why do I care about Cooper Kupp coming here? This is just a splashy name to get people to get Seahawks tickets. This isn't going to be someone that does anything.
It's natural. You're never going to satisfy everybody.
Yeah.
And I got the news. It was a Friday. I'm sitting there at the Cut Shop in Woodinville eating the best white people tacos I ever eaten in my life. And
the hard shell.
The hard shell.
We claim the hard
It
shell.
was bomb. And this guy looks at me. He goes, "Have you picked up your phone yet?" And I go, "No, what's up?" He goes, "Pick up your phone." And I pick it up. The first thing I see is Cooper Kupp to the Seahawks. And there are about half the people at the bar top who love it, half of the people who don't love it.
Of course, so predictable.
This is just how it is. And then, you know, I try to look at both sides. I understand why some people would not like the move. You see that $15 million a year, and you're saying, is he really worth that? And then you're looking at Cooper Kupp, and you're asking if he is a replacement for DK Metcalf. And I was reminding people, I go, no, he's not replacing DK Metcalf. Right? You already have your replacement in JSN. It just looks different. JSN is not a DK Metcalf, but he is now the number one receiver. What you're doing essentially is you're looking at him replacing a Tyler Lockett. All right, and when you look at him and Tyler Lockett, the last 3 seasons, he has a 68% catch rate. That's better than Tyler Lockett. That's better than DK. The knock on him, he's only played in 33 of 51 games. That's where people are struggling a bit. Also, in the last 3 seasons, Lockett has 212 receptions. Cooper Kupp has 201, and that's playing 11 less games in this. 11 less receptions and 17 less games in this guy. So when he's healthy, the production is there, man. It's just you don't trust that he's going to be there. That's what I'm hearing from the people who do not like the signing. And I get that. I understand that. But if you were asking him to come over here and be the number one receiver, then I might feel you a bit. You don't need that. They're going to draft a receiver. You have Marquez as well. And then don't forget Jake Bobo, the people's champion, and Derek Young are there. I'm not looking at this trio and thinking to myself, this is the best trio in the league. No, I look at this trio and I like the personality of it. You have a rising star, in my opinion, in JSN who can do a little bit of everything. You have the veteran who I'm calling the bridge receiver in Cooper Kupp, who is a great blocker and still a good route runner, and he can catch the football. And then you have Marquez, who's that Ferrari, who's just going to open it up and hold safeties responsible. The combination of the three are great. Yeah. Like Destiny Shaw had a bomb combination, right? We all knew Beyonce was leaving. We all knew Beyonce was leaving.
And we all knew Beyonce was central to Destiny's Child.
She was
Beyonce knew that.
She was it. JSN Beyonce.
Right.
And you got Michelle and Kelly.
Right.
You need your supporting cast.
Who's Kelly and who's Michelle?
Michelle is the
let's be
the longer hair one.
No, I know.
Oh, my bad. Oh man. For in the receiving corps.
About the audience
All right,
here.
Kelly. All right, Kelly would be. I say it's Cooper Kupp. Kelly's got to be Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp
like
is
second
for sure.
best.
It's Cooper Kelly.
Cooper
Kupp is Kelly for sure. Marquez is Michelle. It just makes sense that way.
Yeah.
And you're right. JSN is Beyonce in this case, and that's okay because it's still a great duo. You don't need 3 Beyonces.
You don't need 3.
You know what I mean?
It'd be nice.
Yeah,
but that's expensive.
But you don't need that. Let's stay focused on just the type of offense that we're going to see run here. And you talk about, look, this isn't a wide receiver trio right now on paper. Of course, we're assuming they'll add to it in the draft, but this isn't a wide receiver trio on paper that's going to, necessarily really intimidate a lot of defenses the way that the combo of Jefferson and Addison or Higgins and Chase would. But think of your offense. Think of the kind of offense you want to be in 2025. Bump, what's that offense look like? Because it is different than the one we saw in 2024.
It's an offense that is going to work the middle of the field with your shallow crosses, your deep crosses. It's an offense that is going to stretch the safeties on the backside with your posts and your goals when you're rolling out to the right side. You're going to see curls and comebacks. It's a intermediate type offense with the potential to have that really big play. When you watch Sam Darnold work in a similar offense with the Vikings, Justin Jefferson got a lot of big plays. right? But he also has 15-yard gains, 20-yard gains, 8-yard gains because he's working the middle and everything is being set down because you're running the football, play action, and getting the football out of your hand. You can still take some shots. It's not like this is going to be a dink and dunk offense every single play, but that's where they're going to start. You're going to run the football, you'll dink and dunk, and then boom, you take your shots once you start putting the defense to sleep and catch a safety slipping. So it's going to be fun to watch. If it's executed properly, it's going to be fun to watch. That's the part that we are anticipating. Can Sam Darnold execute this offense? Can the offensive line protect Sam Darnold? Can you run the football? I'm optimistic about this offense, but I still have the same questions that other people have.
Absolutely. I mean, when I look at this offense and when I looked at the Cooper Kupp signing, I thought, fun, great. I'm here for it. Not only from a very selfish point of view as a radio host, do I love when a big name gets signed here and when there's something newsworthy to talk about, but as a football fan and as someone who likes winning football, I look at it and I go, you know what? I can absolutely see your point, Bump, about this being a bridge wide receiver, being someone to connect, maybe a newer wide receiver 3 to the top guy, to mentor younger guys, to, give you 600, 700 yards, and that be perfectly fine. I like that fit better when I know they can run the ball.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm stuck. That's where, like, the Cooper Kupp signing to me, the way I feel about it has nothing to do with Kupp. Like, nothing at all. I think Cooper Kupp still has some left in the tank. We asked Eric Williams, who's an NFC West reporter for Fox Sports, who knows the Rams well. Does Cooper have anything left? He said yes. Absolutely.
Definitely does.
Absolutely. But that matters more to you, and you can get more out of what he has left to give you when you are a complementary offense, when you've got a run game, when you can run the ball and when you can protect. That's where I'm still waiting.
Yeah, this is an offense that is like, hey, scratch my back, I scratch yours, right? Get the run game going, play action is going to work. That's how most offenses want to operate, but then you have those offenses like the Chiefs where they're going to light it up and try to throw the football. Where the Ravens, they're going to run the football first, even though their quarterback just tossed, 40 touchdowns last year. But no, this is the way you want your offense to be. It's just that you don't have a clear-cut, this is what they're going to lean on the most. We know what they say they're going to lean on the most, which is the run game. Yeah. But you still got to go out there and see it because last year we heard the same thing from Grubb in that offense. Like, yeah, we're going to run the football. We're going to be physical. Yes, it sounds good. But when you line up and you have to create these matchups and you have to be almost stubborn with your approach, are you going to be disciplined enough to do that? I think the chances are this year that they are going to be more disciplined to do it because Mike McDonald has a year in the game, and I felt like he was better equipped when it comes to picking the right offensive coordinator for the style that he wants to play.
Yes.
So there will be games where Sam Darnold has 35 attempts. There are going to be games like that because other teams prepare and they have matchups and they're going to try to take some things away. But for the most part, I think we'll see a balanced offense, and now it's just about, as all coordinators and players say, executing.
I was looking to the Mac and Jack's text line for one or two additional questions so that I could fit those in before we moved in. And someone said, unrelated to any of this, Stacy, I have bad news. Forever 21 filed bankruptcy. My condolences. God, dragging me this morning.
Have you ever been to the Forever 21 in Vegas?
Yes, wherever the Forever 21 is.
It's a vibe. I walked in there. It's not for me, but the music was playing. I was like,
Forever 21's
it's a
poppin'.
vibe. It's a vibe.
It's great. I'm gonna miss Forever 21. I'm not gonna lie. It's just look, wherever I can get something on the cheap, I will miss that place if it's gone. I'm very basic. Thank you for your condolences. Texter. No, I think if I were to summarize most of the questions that I'm getting for you from the Mac and Jack's text line, it's just all nothing matters if they don't address the offensive line.
Yeah.
So thankfully for you guys, we are addressing those questions, kind of what they still need to add, where we're still looking for help, what free agency has done so far for this team coming up at 1 p.m., our last big segment of the show. So we'll be able to summarize a lot of the moves we're seeing today. Opening day is almost here, and we are sending one of you and a friend to experience it like never before. Imagine getting front row access to the opening ceremonies, player introductions, the first pitch, and so much more, all from the field. To enter, all you need to do is open the Seattle Sports app and click the Win tab to find out how. Now, if you don't already have the app, you should. Shame on you. The read doesn't say that, but shame on you. But you can also text the word app, APP, to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download it. Enter daily to increase your chances to win. The contest runs through Friday, March 21st. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Auburn, Duke, Houston, and Florida have been named the number 1 seeds in this year's NCAA basketball tournament. What's the real headline?
Guys, can you believe it's already March?
It's already March. And my bracket is going to look like whatever Matt Nelson's bracket looks like since he won the NFL playoff bracket. So he knows what he's doing. So I'm going to follow my man's lead on this one. I'm going to follow my man's lead.
I can't wait to build my bracket this year. Crate and Barrel going to come in last place again. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Who do you have winning it all, Matt? Crate and Barrel?
Yeah, I'll probably pick Creighton again just because I could think of a pun for their name.
Barrel. Yeah.
I like it. I'm following Matt. But I like the last few years of the NCAA tournament, especially because we're seeing different names with the 1 seed. You got Duke, right? Okay, we've seen them a bunch of times. They got 15 of those things.
Boring.
First one in 1986. You got Auburn with their second one. First one was in 99. Houston with their fourth. They've been balling the last, 5, 6, 7 years. You got Florida with their third. First one was in 2007. I like it, man. The most number 1 seeds all time. Obviously, you got Duke with 15. You got North Carolina 18, Kansas 15, Kentucky 12, AZ 7. We don't see those names. Now, there's still going to be a force to be reckoned with some of these names in the tournament because they just have that pedigree. But I like seeing different names at the number 1 seed. It's going to be a fun year. There's some sleepers out there.
Quickly, as you guys already know, we've mentioned it off the top, but Arizona, Oregon will be playing games in Seattle. Climate Pledge on Friday. The number 8 Zags, not, unfortunately, obviously part of the Midwest, heading to Wichita to face number 9 Georgia. Clash of the Bulldogs. That one's going to be on Thursday. You've got Oregon, Arizona, Memphis, Maryland as the high seeds here in Seattle on Friday. Also, shout out to the Husky women. They are in the NCAA tourney for the first time since 2017. And Bump, you noted that in general, the NCAA women's tourney just for you becoming just building on momentum constantly.
They got some hoopers in this tourney. Obviously, the young woman from UConn. You got Juju at USC, the young lady from Rutgers. Hidalgo, I believe, from Notre Dame is a baller out there. They're evolving. It's just like watching the NBA game evolve, right? It went from, half-court offense to now everyone's jacking up threes. I'm watching these young women play, and they're moving different. The handles are different. The physicality is different. The skill is different. This game is changing rapidly. So if you haven't been a fan of women's basketball in college especially, go check this out.
Just check it out.
You're going to see some ballers out there.
Headline rewrites.
The Minnesota Vikings have acquired running back Jordan Mason from the San Francisco 49ers in exchange for some draft picks. What's the real headline?
Great news. Never again will we see Mason and Isaac Guerrero combine for almost 200 rushing yards against the Seahawks. That'll never happen again.
That was depressing.
That
was depressing.
There is a positive to come from this.
There is. And honestly, Jordan Mason is a sneaky good running back. 689 yards, 3 touchdowns last year. He had 123 against New England, 100 against Minnesota, 147 against the Jets. Towards the end of the year, he only had like 19 carries last 4 games, but that's because Christian McCaffrey returned. You're going to give him the rock. I think this is a sneaky good pick for these guys, man. He's young, his 3rd year in the league so far, and we saw him live and in person. And physical runner, has a little shake to him as well. You can find gems at the running back position. Teams could pick up a guy that you don't know where he's from, his name or nothing, and he'll drop 100 on you real quick. We've been accustomed to seeing that here in Seattle. Well, I feel like we started Mostert's career with the 49ers. I feel like we started Jeff Wilson's career with the 49ers.
It's just like came in, we were like, we'll stop this guy.
Backup running backs, backup quarterbacks. We've seen a lot of them ball out here, but I like this pick for those guys.
Headline rewrites.
Rory McIlroy beat J.J. Spaun to win the Players' Championship over the weekend. What's the real headline?
Bump, did the Players' Championship make you forget about Tiger Woods not playing in the Masters?
It didn't. But it reminded me of my Irish because Rory got it done. I was watching them this morning, the playoff. They played 16, 17, and 18 over there at TPC. The biggest, turn of events was on 17. Rory puts one pretty close on a par 3 island, and then JJ puts one in the water. I knew then it was over. But big ups to JJ. If you don't know about JJ, he was so close to quitting golf about a year ago. And now he's up to about 30th in the world. That's going to get him into more tournaments. He was about to drop the clubs and play at municipal golf courses with your boy, but he stayed in that. And it's so hard to win these tournaments. There's a shot. So you put one in the water, Stacy, right? There's a drop zone that you go to. Right? You go to the drop zone.
Yeah.
And he's having this conversation with his caddy about the yardage and all that stuff. And you could tell neither of them were really confident about what was going on. From the T-box to the drop zone, and I thought to myself, that's how hard this game is, man. You got to be on the same page with your caddy and then execute. But fun to see JJ push Rory like that. Then Rory sunk a putt yesterday to get this thing into the playoffs. It was a great way to start my morning. Great way to start my morning.
Another great way to start my morning is to wish you a happy St. Patrick's
Thank you.
Day.
Thank
you guys can't tell if you're watching the video stream, but my hat is green. I would say it's sage, so it does count.
Okay.
You are wearing some green
I got
as
some
well.
green.
You
Got some green on my
Seahawks
chest.
green. And in honor of your Irish heritage, which we've decided relatively recently. How did we decide you were Irish? Oh no, it was you just started saying the Irish.
Oh, Notre Dame. I wanted Notre Dame to win.
That's what it was.
And the Irish. And I became part of the Irish community, and they've accepted me. I see Irish people on the street.
Do they
and
say hi?
We talk about the heritage of St. Patrick.
Yeah.
St. Patrick wasn't even Irish,
Well,
actually.
I've got some trivia questions for you.
all right, let's get it.
To test your knowledge of your, the country closest to your heart, outside of the USA.
Of course.
So some of these are easy. This is from Country Living. Of which country is St. Patrick the patron saint?
He's not from Ireland.
Well, this says he's the patron saint of Ireland.
Okay, well, go, sure.
Okay. Let's see. I got another one. Let's see. Why is St. Patrick's Day celebrated on the 17th?
On the 17th, because on the 17th hole of a round, things just kind of fell apart, and they were like, you know what? We need to focus on the 17th.
I know that's right.
So we did that.
It's the day St. Patrick died. But you are off to a good start. You're off to a good start. Let's see. What animal did St. Patrick drive out of Ireland?
He drove possums out of Ireland, honestly.
Okay.
Special kind of possums, though.
Yeah?
Red-bearded possums.
Okay.
Yeah.
Snakes was the answer. You know what? We'll work on this.
Thank God for him, man. Get them snakes out of there. That's a good one.
Over the weekend, we got some additional details on Sam Darnold's contract, and it's a far more interesting signing than we realized. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Just a bit of news surrounding the Seahawks right now. According to Adam Schefter, Cooper Kupp is signing with the Seattle Seahawks. No hard and fast numbers yet. Ian Rappaport speculating he's likely to make $15 million per year or more. And then Adam Schefter saying the Seahawks are giving Cooper Kupp a 3-year deal per source. So Cooper Kupp is coming to the Seattle Seahawks.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I just had Asset Roofing come out and do a full inspection on my roof because I wanted to be proactive and handle any small problems before they became big problems, and they were extremely professional with their communication and recommendations. You really need an expert on your side, and Asset Roofing is on mine. Allow them to work for you, too. You can find out more at AssetRoofingCo.com. That's AssetRoofingCo.com.
Certified work that's never in doubt. Asset Roofing, excellence is on the house.
Guys, I'll never forget the first time I saw somebody get results at our clinic. He was an 81-year-old man who hadn't been intimate with his wife in over 8 years. Viagra had stopped working for him, and he was desperate for help. After several treatments, he walked into my office and told me he couldn't believe the results. Needless to say, this was a very happy man. This man made me a believer in what we do. He had taken pills for years, but he had never fixed the problem. When he came to us, we fixed the problem. Our treatment does what no pill can do. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today, like the thousands of men who already have.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity. So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G internet plus one unlimited welcome line and AT&T internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Did you know colon cancer can be detected early or prevented through regular screening?
I have detected Around Earth is the greatest lie ever.
Okay, Roger. My uncle just passed away and I inherited his cockatoo, Roger. He was a member of the Flat Earth Society, so Roger picked up on some of his rhetoric. Anyway, screening, such as a colonoscopy.
Screen these! Screen these!
Roger that, Roger. Moving on. Colonoscopies can detect early-stage colon or rectal cancer or even polyps, which are abnormal growths that can turn into cancer over time.
I'm a Flat Earth walker.
Come on, Roger. What did I do to my uncle to deserve you? You don't get to choose what you inherit, just like colon cancer. Unlike Roger here, I believe in science. And science says that if colon cancer runs in your family, you're more likely to develop it yourself. Talk to your doctor about when you should start screening. Find out more at coloncancercoalition.org. A message from the Colon Cancer Coalition.
For Down Territory, going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
It's the World Fighting Championships at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center. Saturday night, May 10th. Experience the thrill of live MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, and kickboxing. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss this exciting mixed martial arts event. The World Fighting Championships, May 10th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
I've always said, the car sales in the 1980s and 1990s, earned the rep that we have today. The concerns that consumers have because of what has happened in our industry in the past, they're warranted. It's our job to show them that that's not how business is done anymore, right? It's very different business. It's much more transparent. There's much more information that's available to people. And we're much more customer focused than I think the car industry was, 20, 30 years ago. I'm more focused on providing good customer service and relationships because I think if you take care of people, money will always come. So I think just the philosophy and the focus for us has changed, where I was constantly chasing a paycheck and now I'm just constantly trying to take care of customers and employees because I know if I do that, then my paycheck will take care of itself.
The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's St. Patrick's Day on Bumpin' Stacy. Neither of us are Irish, except
Speak for yourself.
Speak for myself. I am not Irish.
You know what it is? So my kids are half Latino, right?
Uh-huh.
And when they start playing Latino music, I look at them, I go, man, y'all feel this on another level. Like, I like it, but y'all feel it.
But this
like,
is you.
So this is me. Like, I feel this on another level. You just can't feel it the way I do.
We have a more important conversation to get to about Sam Darnold's contract. We learned some new details about it and kind of what it tells us about the direction the Seahawks are going in. But first, I just have a couple questions for you to, I guess, test your Irish loyalty, knowledge. And I'll say if you get like 3 of these right, you get to claim Ireland for the rest of the day. Okay?
I'm going to claim it regardless, but I feel
Here we
you.
go.
I feel you.
Okay. Are these all specifically related to actual Irish culture? No. For instance, name me the marshmallow charms in Lucky Charms cereal.
How many are there?
There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Get 4 of them.
The rainbow.
Okay, yes.
There's a heart.
Yes.
There has to be a pot of gold in that thing. No pots?
There's no pot of gold.
The clover.
Okay, yes. Yes,
That's
one
3.
more. One more.
All right, and let's go. Is there a hat in there? Like the leprechaun hat?
No.
Is there leprechaun shoes?
No.
Is there a leprechaun?
No.
How do you not have a leprechaun in Lucky Charms?
I don't know.
All right, I missed that one.
Unicorns, a blue moon, a red balloon, horseshoes, and stars.
Horseshoes.
Okay, let me just ask you a couple more. Okay, what's the tagline for Lucky Charms?
Something about gold.
What? No. What does the little leprechaun say about the cereal? Lucky
they're
Charms.
magically delicious.
Yes.
Let's go.
That counts. That counts. Okay. What is the traditional main dish served on St. Patrick's Day celebrations?
Green beer.
No.
That's what we did in Pullman.
Spoken like a coon.
That's what we did in Pullman, baby.
A food that you would
Food.
eat. A dish, an entree. You can look to the text line for help. You cannot look at the show sheet where I have the answers.
I feel like it's like a broth or something, man.
Okay, well, maybe if anyone can help bump out
Yeah,
the
help me
main
out.
entree that you would serve on St. Patrick's Day is.
It is.
Think to your
Corned
Irish.
beef?
Yes.
Corned beef?
Yes. Okay.
Text
I'll
lines.
accept it.
Thanks 360.
Okay. Corned beef and cabbage. There you go. There you go. Let's see. Okay. True or false? This one's easy. It's a 50%.
All right.
Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland, was Irish.
Oh, I know that for sure because my grandmother told me he was not Irish. He was not.
False. You got it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Let's go one more. Okay. You talked about green beer. What American city has dyed its river green every St. Patrick's Day since 1962?
Chicago.
Yes.
Let's
you're
get
right.
it.
Let's get it. Okay. I'm moving on to more important topics here. Congratulations on passing
Got
the
my
St. Patrick's Day
citizenship.
quiz. There was some details about Sam Darnold's contract released over the weekend. I took these details from NBC Sports, but essentially what you need to know is the deal is basically guaranteed for 1 year. Jason of Over the Cap tweeted out, this is not unusual for how the Seahawks have structured their deals or new contracts, that most of the guaranteed money is going to be technically from that first year, and then you're going to have injury guarantees beyond that. So this is what Sam Darnold's look like. In 2025, he has $37.5 million fully guaranteed. But as long as he's not injured, let's say that he underperforms. The Seahawks aren't happy with it. They're like, this is not our dude. We don't like what we've seen. They can move on from him because he's only guaranteed $17.5 million if he's injured. And that guarantee also, if he's not injured, becomes guaranteed the week after this upcoming Super Bowl. So the Seahawks have time, assuming he leaves the season healthy. The Seahawks can decide to move on from Sam Darnold. Done. Off the books. You can move on freely. Now, what does this maybe say about how they see Sam Darnold?
It says we saw 1 year, dog. It says we saw 1 year, and we believe in you, and we're going to give you an opportunity to make some money, but you got to go out there and you have to prove it. So I think that for the people who weren't too excited about this acquisition can kind of calm down a little bit. It's essentially a 1 year trial, but once you get into that second year, you're pretty much committed for the rest of the contract. And I like this. Now, it's almost, I think I read that it's like frowned upon and that Derek Carr and I think the Raiders did something similar to that. But listen, if you have a guy who has been in the league for, 5-6 years, and he's been in some tough places, you start off with the Jets, the Niners, the Panthers, we understand the journey. But if he puts 1 year together, you have to force him to show you that he can get it done. So I like this. And I didn't know the details until this morning or something when I started reading this article. And this is an easy way out. So this tells Seahawk fans that we think we found our guy, but we feel just like you in a sense. The last 2 games didn't really look good. We've only seen this play for 14, 15 games. You got to go out there and prove it. It's a prove it type of deal, but I think it's appropriate for the situation.
Well, and I think it's okay to look at the situation and go, it's okay for the Seahawks to not know. And whatever team would have been signing Sam Darnold would have felt the exact same way. And this is just maybe a bigger reflection of the rarity of elite starting quarterbacks. This is what Trey Wingo told us last week about Darnold getting this kind of deal.
People are like, I can't believe Sam Darnold got that much money. It's the simplest thing. It's supply side economics. We don't have good quarterbacks in the NFL. Let's just be honest about it. We don't. There are 32 starting quarterbacks, and probably 20 of them should be starters, maybe 18. And the rest are on this rotating mess like the Giants are in right now.
Got a good chunk of teams in the league that have a starter that they're paying sometimes good money to that probably shouldn't or wouldn't be a starter. Maybe Sam Darnold is one of those guys. Now, last year, Those are starting quarterback stats. 35 touchdowns to 12 interceptions, 4,300 yards, solid. But you saw it for one season. So what the Seahawks are doing is saying, hey, we think we can find an answer with someone who is younger than Geno and going to be cheaper than Geno. But we don't want to commit money to this person being the answer when we as an organization are in a state of flux. Maybe they, in 2026, in that draft class, find a guy that they fall in love with. Why do we want to commit guaranteed money to Sam Darnold in 26 and 27?
No, it gives them a way out, and that's a smart move. And that's the way you describe the quarterback market. There are never going to be 32 starting caliber quarterbacks in the NFL. It's just too hard to find. It's the toughest position to play in football. Cooper Rush started the game. Mason Rudolph, Spencer Rattler, Drew Lock, Jacoby Brissett. Now, these are guys who we will see out there, and they'll get some snaps, but these aren't guys that we're saying we're going to build our team around this. So this is exactly what this contract means. It means, look, you balled out at the right time, and you were in the perfect situation to where the Vikings did not want to sign you or didn't sign you because they had a young quarterback that they drafted, and you're the hottest thing on the market when you have a 41-year-old Aaron Donald out there and a 30-something-year-old Russell Wilson, who were the main attractions. The timing was perfect for Sam Darnold, and that contract reflects that. DTR is probably not going to be a starter in this league, for real. Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis. There are so many quarterbacks who played football last year who are just fillers. Was that last season real? You have to prove it, and the market was great for you. We're going to give you some money up front because you only made $10 million last year. We'll give you some money. You earn that. But as far as long-term, there's a way out.
One of my biggest questions when the Seahawks moved on from Geno Smith and then later traded DK was, what are the Seahawks doing? And I knew the immediate answer was, well, they're pivoting. I mean, Geno wanted to be dealt or wanted more money than they were willing to offer. And DK wanted to be traded as well if there wasn't going to be stability here. I can get that. But what I really meant when I said, what are the Seahawks doing, is, are they truly investing in Sam Darnold? Like, does John Schneider see Sam Darnold as a long-term answer? That's the real question I had. I think the details of this contract tell me maybe not.
No, you have to. The guys who get the 10-year contracts, which I hate, the guys who get the $120-something million guaranteed have shown that they can do it over at least 3 or 4 years. You don't get that contract off of 1 year, but you do have to reward what you saw out of him. You can't take it for granted. You can't just throw it to the side and say, well, you've only done it 1 year, we're not going to pay you. No, you say, look, we'll hook you up, but you have to make us believe in what you're doing. And I like this because it keeps guys hungry. How many times have we seen guys get paid and kind of just fade off and not perform? You get complacent. I think it's a natural human reaction sometimes. You made your money. You made it to the league. Mama, I've done everything that I told you I was going to do. I got your house, your car, and all that stuff. This allows him to stay motivated. Now, I don't know Sam Darnold. He could have gotten paid and still have been motivated. I don't know. Sure. But we do know that we've seen a lot of situations where guys get paid and they just slow down.
So, again, the details on Sam Darnold's contract from Over the Cap and NBC Sports for this upcoming season is all the guaranteed money. It's $37.5 million fully guaranteed. So you can, if you are someone who, let's say this season starts for Sam Darnold and you feel disappointed and you feel underwhelmed, you can look at it as a guaranteed one-year deal. Now, the following season, 2026, is $27.5 million. $17 million becomes guaranteed if he's injured, guaranteed for injury, or if they enter the Seahawks the week after the Super Bowl and he's still on the roster. So if they like enough of what they saw, they're ready to go into another season, it's $17.5 million guaranteed. And then it'll ultimately be $27.5 million.
And I appreciate the $17.5 for injury, too.
Yes.
That's good looking out.
In 2027, it's $35.5 million. None of it's guaranteed. So if Sam Darnold, let's look at the opposite. If Sam Darnold balls out, he gives you 30 touchdowns in 2025. He gives you 30 touchdowns in 2026. What a run he'd be on. But it would also mean that heading into 2027, we'd be in a similar situation as we were with Geno Smith, though Darnold would be younger, where he and his agent are looking for more guaranteed money. You're probably going to have to extend him after 26.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's just something to kind of keep in your back pocket when you're thinking about Sam Darnold's season. If at any point you find yourself going, why do we pay this guy? Then know that it's not as much guaranteed money as it looks. And if at any point you think, wow, this guy's the answer, no, he and his agent are going to be looking for more. So heading into another couple NFL things here. Brady Henderson is going to join us at 11. We have a lot of questions about what this team has been doing. They are in a state of transition. We're going to find out more before we get to that. Just days after Myles Garrett became the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, a new player holds the title.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Four-time Pro Bowl defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence is now a Seattle Seahawk. This will be his 12th season.
It shouldn't be a surprise from the standpoint of, like, last year, the first move they made was D-line, and it was to sign Leonard Williams. They're going to build up that defensive line, and, you know, it's actually looking pretty good. We still have a first-rounder from last year that has yet to explode.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity.
So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus one unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. Call 800-948-7878. That's 800-948-7878. 800-948-7878.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where Groundworks comes in. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. Final tryouts for adults ages 18 to 65 and older are this Sunday, March 23rd at Interlake High School in Bellevue. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-Little Leaguers to high school and even former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
Over the past decade, Washington state politicians have doubled state spending with no improvements to the issues we care about. Instead, we now have the third highest cost of living in the nation and a $12 billion deficit. It's time to tell legislators we need better results, not bigger taxes. Act now at affordablewashington.org. Paid for by people for an affordable Washington and Olympia, Washington. Top 5 donors are Washington Alliance for Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Alaska Air.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
The future is here, so why is your internet stuck in the past? With Quantum Fiber Internet, you can get next-level multi-gig speed on a reliable fiber network. Fair and honest pricing with no annual contracts or bundling required. And whole home 360 Wi-Fi to make sure your devices are ready to take you where you want to go. So you can stream, post, game, surf, like, and love to your heart's content. You do you. Let Quantum Fiber Internet take care of the rest. Learn more at quantumfiber.com. Limited availability, service, and speed in select locations only.
Hey, this is a great deal. Riverside Roofing is offering $1,000 off a new roof replacement, incentivizing homeowners like you to book their roof replacement right now. It's Mike Salk here, and this is a great time to do it. The days are getting longer. Post 7 p.m. sunsets, those crews can get your roof done quick, just in time for the spring rains to keep your home dry and protected. Here's what you got to do to claim your $1,000 off from Riverside Roofing. Book a free estimate from their website, riversideroofingllc.com, and when you meet with Brandon, that's Don's son, tell him you heard the message on the radio station. $1,000 back in your pocket and a brand new roof over your head. Be sure to ask Brandon about their 35 years of local experience, their GAF Master Elite certification, which puts them in the top 3% of roofers nationally, and the catch-all system, which they use to keep your yard and driveway totally free of debris like nails and shingles. It's all at riversideroofingllc.com. Tell them Mike Salk sent you. Go to Riverside Roofing, the roofing company you can trust.
Spring is here. Start your home improvement projects and save with Washington Energy's Spring Savings Event. Enhance your home with 20% off high-quality Henderson windows and enjoy energy savings as well as the modern or traditional window styles you love. For an entirely fresh look for your home, invest in beautiful interior and exterior doors from Codell. Expertly installed by Washington Energy Services and also 20% off. Great financing and service you can trust make Washington Energy Services the clear choice. Call today for a free estimate.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We are heading outside of Seattle for our next story here, but still one of the biggest stories in the NFL from the weekend. Wide receivers getting paid. The Bengals agreed to massive contract extensions for two of the best receivers in football this weekend. Jamar Chase now becomes the league's highest paid non-quarterback with a 4-year, $161 million deal, $112 million guaranteed. And the number that's really eye-popping is the average annual value, $40.2.5 million per year. T. Higgins signed a 4-year, $115 million deal, just shy of $29 million per year in average annual value. The Bengals' defense is the reason they did not make it to the playoffs. And because of that, they got some criticism for paying these two wide receivers collectively so much money. But, Bump, I don't think you can punish a team for paying its best players.
No, we spoke to someone last week. Who was it that said, look, I think it was Eric Williams, who said, man, you got to pay your top guys, right? If you find someone who is elite at their position, you pay them. But like I always do, I always try to look at it from both sides, right? All right. Some people think that receivers should not be getting paid the numbers that they're getting paid. I think it's because the game is changing and their impact is changing. So if you look at, this is the negative side of it. Running backs are the most impactful players on an offense other than a quarterback. You look at yards from scrimmage. You got Saquon Barkley, who had 22-83, 13 touchdowns. He's getting $20 million this year or annually. Derrick Henry, 2,100. He's getting $8 million, 16 touchdowns. Gibbs, 16 touchdowns, 1,900 yards. He's getting $4 million. Bashawn Robinson, 1,800. 14 touchdowns, he's getting 5.4. And then you get to Chase. He's like 5th or 6th on this list when it comes to yards from scrimmage. 1,740. He's getting $40 million and $40 million with 17 touchdowns to mix all that up. So you look at the production from the line of scrimmage, you look at running backs and say they are the most valuable piece you have other than the quarterback when it comes to just making plays. And then I went deeper. All right, so what do offensive coordinators want? They want explosive plays, right? Can we move the ball down the field? If I can do it in 3 plays and I don't have to run time off the clock, I'm going to do that. So then I went and looked at explosive plays. Running backs. You got Derrick Henry with 19. He has a long of 87, 81, 51, 44. He's getting it. You got Barkley with 17. He's got a long of 72, 68, 65, 78, and 60. Then you got Gibbs with 13, a long of 40, 47, and 45. All right, so the biggest amount or the largest amount of numbers for big plays is Derrick Henry at the running back spot. So then we go to the receivers. Jefferson has 28 big plays last year, 28, a long of 97. George Kittle's not even a running back or a receiver. He's got 21. You got Mooney with 21, DK with 20, Chase with 19. So you get down to Chase, the guy who's getting paid the most out of all these guys. He's equivalent to Derrick Henry. Now I'm going to try to make this all make sense. The reason why I think coordinators are more willing to pay these wide receivers over these running backs is because you just get more bang for your buck. We talked about Barkley, yards from scrimmage, he leads the game. He had 345 attempts to get that. Henry, 325 attempts. Bijan, 304 attempts. So now let's go to the best receivers in the game, Chase and Jefferson. I'm not even going to talk about their receptions, just their targets. We'll count those as attempts, right? 175 targets for Chase to get his number, 154 for Jefferson to get his number. So what you're doing is you're getting a player who's going to be on the outside. He's not going to get these big hits. He is liable to make more big plays than the best running back in the game, and you know that he's probably going to play longer. So what do? You lock these guys up because a quarterback's best friend is a receiver he can just toss the football up to. So I hope that makes sense, whether it supports your argument or it doesn't support your argument. I tried to make sense of it and try to get in the mind of the offensive coordinator. It just comes down for more bang for your buck, and you know they're going to play longer.
It totally makes sense. It's the idea of an offensive coordinator saying, this guy can get me 90 yards on a play. And is more likely to get me 90 yards on a play by sheer virtue, by the physics of passing offense and passing the ball versus running through tacklers. And I think, too, it sounds so simple, but to look at just supply side economics and go, well, look, I don't need to pay a running back this much because that's not the market. There's Saquon, there's Derrick Henry, and that's it. You know what I mean? No one else can command that kind of money, so why would I pay them that money? Whereas Jamar Chase can command $40 million per year. What does it say, too, about the evolution of the league that this list from Adam Schefter of the highest paid non-quarterbacks in the NFL, by the way, just stacking on top of each other, 4 of these contracts coming in the last, almost all of them coming in the last calendar year, but 2 in just the last week or so. Jamar Chase, $40.2 million. Myles Garrett, $40 million. Max Crosby, $35.5 million. Justin Jefferson, $35 million. Nick Bosa, $34 million. CeeDee Lamb, $34 million. There are 2 positions represented in that list. Yeah, there's wideouts and guys who get the quarterback. And quarterbacks love them, a wideout who they trust and they can just throw the football to. And defensive coordinators realize to be successful in this league, a league where we've seen the numbers of pass attempts go up every single year, you got to make life a living heck for these quarterbacks. Listen, I think a running back controls the game better than any other position, right? Hand the football off. The quarterback has to do nothing for a running back to be successful. Hand the football off. Well, he can't help in the pass game and keep the defense honest, right? But when we're talking about just the connectivity of a play, the running back can have the biggest impact on his own. He can have a garbage offensive line. Big Ray blocked for Barry Sanders, and he'll tell you that all-line was not very good, but he made them that great just because it's a natural position. There's no denying the importance of a running back when you want to control a football game and how they can do it themselves. But it's about the big plays, and it's about just how offenses are called and what the defense can and can't do against a receiver. Like if you want a receiver can require a corner's attention, a safety's attention, you keep a safety out the box, you can run the football. All right, there are going to be arguments for the quarterback, for the O-line, for the running back, for the wideout. But when it comes down to it, more bang for your buck when you get an elite wide receiver over the best football season we've seen out of a running back this year. Last minute here, we'll take it back to Seattle for just about 45 seconds to a minute bump. I was thinking, look, Jamar Chase, the highest paid non-quarterback, but the Bengals didn't make the playoffs. They have an elite wide receiver. He was a Triple Crown winner last year, and yet it was not good enough to make the playoffs. So I know that just having an elite wide receiver, just having an elite edge rusher, the Raiders didn't make the playoffs with Crosby. The 49ers didn't make the playoffs with Nick Bosa. That doesn't make you a Super Bowl team. However, if we're thinking about Seattle, where does their elite talent come from? Is it from either of these positions, either edge rusher, I know it's going to be maybe an outside backer in a 3-4, or receiver? I don't know. That's a tough one because we're waiting to see JSN prove it. Yeah. We think that Derek Hall, Boye Mafe, and Uchenna can probably get it done. But the Hawks are just in a weird position to where everybody is proving it. Sam Darnold got to prove it. Tyrese Knight got to prove it. I think Ernest Jones and Leo are solid, but everyone else is on this prove it type of thing. So it's all about how you want to build your offense. But, you just get bigger plays out of receivers. But running backs control the game for sure. We are in new territory for the Seahawks, normally a quiet team in free agency. Perhaps no other team has made more headlines over the last week and a half than has Seattle. So let's find out what's going on with ESPN's Brady Henderson next.
When you're running the hurry up and don't have time for your favorite Seattle sports shows, listen to the podcast on demand.
How about that? Unbelievable. Who would have thought?
Every hour, every interview, every look behind the scenes.
He is your new Seahawks head coach, Mike McDonald.
We want to play a certain way, and you're just going to chisel away at it every day.
Find us on seattlesports.com, the Seattle Sports app, or wherever you get podcasts.
All signs continue to point to it being the right hire.
Never miss a minute of Seattle sports, the home of the Seahawks.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
Have you considered surgery or even joint replacement? Hey, it's Dave Wyman, and before you make that decision, see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Why? Because he gives it to you straight. Dr. Wagner said my right knee needs replacement, and I appreciate his honesty and expertise. My left knee is fine right now, but the minute it isn't, I'm heading to Dr. Wagner for his expert opinion. I want to avoid another surgery, and I've heard so many patients rave about results from their 90-minute outpatient stem cell procedure with Dr. Wagner. He's a board-certified Seattle physician with over 30 years of experience and has performed more than 20,000 stem cell procedures using a person's own stem cells to regenerate cartilage in their own joints. People with severe osteoarthritis, even bone on bone, are back doing what they enjoy without pain and without surgery. Whether it's a shoulder, hip, elbow, ankle, wrist, or knee, before choosing surgery, see Dr. Mark Wagner first. Go to drmarkwagnermd.com.
Do you need a new roof? Don't wait for summer to replace it. 3 Tree Roofing is here to help you save big this winter. Avoid summer's higher prices and longer wait times and protect your home's integrity now. Visit 3treeroofing.com for your free on-site estimate. Our certified installers make it easy and worry-free, no matter the season. Don't wait. Book your estimate today at 3treeroofing.com. Mention this ad and get $500 off your roof replacement. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
The brackets are now open. Compete in the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. Has Viagra stopped working for you? Do you hate the side effects? If you've taken Viagra for any length of time, you already know that pills are not the solution to ED. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. No pills, no shots, no surgery. We can also treat Peyronie's disease. Our non-invasive treatment for ED is painless and highly effective. We have treated thousands of men just like you. Stop living with this problem and do something about it. Do yourself a favor, do your partner a favor, and call us today.
Call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com. HSA cards welcome and financing available.
Unbelievable!
All right!
Those are the sounds of tax accountants rejoicing after experiencing the power of Blue Jay, the leading generative AI solution for tax research. Tax season is here, and if you're an accounting firm, the pressure is on. Long hours and tight deadlines make this time of year a challenge for even the most seasoned tax professionals. So, tax accountants, here's your solution. Blue Jay, the preferred partner solution of CPA.com for tax research. Ask a complex tax question, and Blue Jay gives you better tax answers in seconds. Save time and maximize your clients' refunds with high-speed, accurate, and intuitive AI technology built with a library of only the most trusted tax resources, updated daily to keep up with changes in tax. For a limited time, save 40% off at bluejay.com/start now. That's BLUE, the letter J.com/start now. Or text BLUE to 511-511. Blue Jay, generative AI for better tax answers. Text BLUE to 511-511 today. Tax fees may apply.
Let's go! This This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Husky women are dancing again. Washington women's basketball made the NCAA tourney for the first time since 2017. They'll take on fellow number 11 Columbia Thursday at 4 p.m. The first round of the men's tourney is coming to Seattle in a schedule that includes 2 former Pac-12 teams. This Friday, it's number 12 Colorado State against number 5 Memphis, number 12 Liberty against number 5 Oregon, number 13 Akron against number 4 Arizona, and number 13 Grand Canyon against number 4 Maryland.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. A lot of questions about a Seahawks team that appears very much in transition, also making some headline-grabbing moves. ESPN's Brady Henderson joins us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Hey, Brady, how's it going?
What's up, Stacy? Doing great. How are you?
Good. Been a very busy week for you, I'm sure, covering a lot of these moves. I'm going to start with one of the most recent, that being the signing of Cooper Kupp. Your colleague, Jeremy Fowler, said the Hawks were the most aggressive team in their pursuit of Kupp. What do you think Seattle saw with Cooper?
I think they saw just a veteran guy that they really need, and a guy who look. There's all the. I just think that deal. I think I wrote on Twitter, like it almost made too much sense not to happen, just with everything that all the factors when you consider. They obviously they still needed big time receiver help even after signing Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who I think he. Projects more as a number 2. I mean, skill set wise, body type wise, he can give them a little bit of what DK Metcalf gave them, but he projects just in terms of production more like a replacement for Tyler Lockett as the number 3 than he does a number 2. So they really needed somebody to kind of fill out the top of the receiver depth chart along with Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Kupp was the best guy available. And I'm sure there's plenty of scheme familiarity with what he's run in Los Angeles for the past 8 years to what they're going to be running now with Clint Kubiak. And then, just the big time production and the pedigree being what it is. I think that deal made a lot of sense on top of obviously the Washington connection. And so, like I said, I think it just made too much sense to not happen. And we'll see exactly what those contract details look like. It was reported as a 3-year, $45 million deal. As we all know by now, sometimes the initially reported figures of a contract include incentives or escalators that sort of inflate the more accurate value of the deal. So we'll see if that's the case with this one. But I would say $15 million a year for that kind of production, and assuming they gave themselves reasonable protection in that deal in the event that his injury bug continues to bite him, I would say that's a very solid signing, and it addresses a pretty significant need for them.
What's up, B? Well, we got some details with the Sam Darnold contract over there. You got in 2025, 3.75 fully guaranteed. In 2026, 27.5, 17.5 million, which is guaranteed for an injury. Becomes fully guaranteed after the Super Bowl. And then in 2027, 35.5 million, no guarantees. I really like this contract because it's like a prove it to me type of situation. Is this what you were expecting, and what are your thoughts on this contract?
Yeah, and again, we got to see the full details, but I think the bones of it are there. And, a lot has been made over the last day or two about the contract and, the kind of out that the Seahawks would potentially have after one season. And it's true, if they could get out of this after 1 year and $37.5 million. And, if that's the case, that's actually less than what, as far as I understand it, than what they had offered Geno Smith in year one while they were trying to extend him. They offered him $40 million in year one, not necessarily a $40 million extension, but the extension they offered him would have paid him $40 million in year one. So it is a little bit cheaper with Darnold. As much as has been made about that, I think it is, that is the structure. That there's nothing really special that they're doing with Darnold there. I think from as far as I understand it, at least from what's been reported so far. And that is their typical structure. So the way that they do it is they don't fully guarantee money beyond the first year of a deal for veteran players like that. And so the extra guarantees that are built into the second year, and if there are any in the third year, which I don't know, but those second year guarantees, those are for injury right now. So unless Sam Darnold gets injured, he isn't necessarily guaranteed that money in the second year, even though it's considered part of the overall guarantee package. But again, that's just what they do. They did that with, Russell Wilson, whose agent really tried to break that precedent, and they held firm. And that's just what they do. They don't fully guarantee money beyond the first year of a deal, which allows them, as was the case with Geno Smith's last deal, and as is the case with Darnold, it allows them to move on after one season, assuming the guy's not hurt, with, I would say manageable cap ramifications.
You've covered many a Seahawks offseason, Brady, and I would say typically, and I doubt you disagree, this is a relatively quiet team in free agency. They're not overly aggressive. In part, that's been because they've had money tied up in contracts, so they haven't had a ton of cap space. Would you say that this approach this offseason has been a different one for Seattle, or does it feel the same?
It feels different, yeah, and it's not just the moves they have made, but the one big move they were also willing to make. And look, in being, signing Will Fries to a big deal. Now, the Geno and the DK trades, those weren't necessarily part of their plan A, I wouldn't say. They obviously were prepared, and they knew that the Smith negotiations might not go well and that they would have to pivot, but they obviously, their first plan was to try to extend him. I don't think they had planned on trading DK Metcalf until it became apparent, so apparent that he wanted out, that became the best move for them. But yeah, going back to Will Fries, I'd say their plan was different in the sense that they were prepared to spend a whole lot of money on that guy. I would say maybe not the overall length of the deal and whatever the guarantee package is, but I think in terms of a per year average, I believe they were roughly willing to go as high as Minnesota did. Obviously, in the end, I think they got scared off by just the medical situation, but yeah, that would have been a huge departure for them, for a team that really, as you said, has really, mostly stayed out of the first wave of free agency. And, the point John Schneider was making both to reporters and I think with the afternoon show with Bob and Dave was that, the response to losing out on Will Fries, the reasonable response there isn't to go, throw money elsewhere at a guy who they don't think is nearly as good, just to fix a hole right now. And his point was that, that's kind of how they've gotten into trouble in the past is panicking in the early wave of free agency and, responding to missing out on somebody by, throwing money at a lesser player. Now, he didn't name any names, but I would have the name that came to my mind there was Draymond Jones because, the year they signed Draymond Jones, they made a pretty big run at Zach Allen, who ended up signing with, I think it was Arizona, and then they gave Draymond Jones a whole lot of money, and obviously that deal didn't work out. So I would imagine that lesson was, firmly on top of mind, and their plan was if they were either going to sign Will Fries or they were going to turn their focus to the draft and really focus on the young players like Christian Haynes, who, despite how his rookie season went and despite what a lot of people think of him, they have more confidence in him than you might imagine, feeling like he's a better fit. Like the zone blocking scheme will be a better fit for his skill set than what they were asking him to do last season.
So, do you think that they don't go get a veteran at that offensive line in free agency, or do you think that just is not as important anymore because of the situation with Will Fries, and you think that they'll develop these young dudes and hit the draft?
No, I think they will still go after a veteran guy, but it's going to be an inexpensive guy. So the comp I would use would, I could see them signing somebody. I could see them making a signing like similar to the Evan Brown signing a couple of years ago, where it was a veteran guy with starting experience on a short-term deal where, you're not committing to him. You're not committing a lot of money to him. And it might even be like with Evan Brown, they weren't necessarily committing to him starting, I don't think, when they signed him. It was, it was a reasonable enough deal to where if he was making backup money on that contract, that would have been perfectly justifiable. And so, maybe you spend a little bit of money somebody. I know they've been linked to Tevin Jenkins, the former second-round pick, who's battled a lot of injuries in Chicago. But whatever veteran they signed, I really don't think it's going to be for a whole lot of money, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's for such a little amount of money that he wouldn't necessarily be locked into a starting job.
I do want to wrap up this conversation in 5 or so minutes by looking ahead, but my next question for you is actually maybe looking at how this all started. But I was just hoping for some clarification because, Brady, I'm hearing conflicting reports about how much Schneider might have offered Geno, maybe how much Geno was willing to stay, how far apart the two sides were. Can you just remind us in our final look back to that situation how you heard it might have gone down or what you were hearing about the two sides?
Yeah, I've got a story coming out, so I got to save some of my reporting for the story.
Spoilers,
but I will tell you this:
ESPN.com.
that my understanding is they offered him, I think it was a 2-year extension that would have paid him $40 million in year one. So again, not necessarily a $40 million per year extension, but that extension would have paid him $40 million this coming season. And that was on par with what they understand the Matthew Stafford deal to be, meaning the revised deal that Matthew Stafford just got from the Rams. That $40 million they believed is on par with what he just got. And so they felt like it was a strong offer. They didn't really hear back from Geno. There wasn't a counter offer. And, they saw that unwillingness to engage in negotiations as a sign that, now was the time to move on, and they figured they couldn't really afford to wait past the start of free agency when, Darnold and the other veteran options that they had in mind as contingency plans, they couldn't wait until past the point where those guys signed elsewhere. If they were going to trade Geno, they needed to do it before free agency so that they could position themselves to not miss out on a potential replacement, knowing that they weren't really in love with anybody in the draft.
Maybe a smaller move made. Artie Burns looks like he signed with the Dolphins. And I was talking to Stacy last week. Going into last spring, training camp, we felt like the DB room was probably one of the deepest on the team. And it's slowly dwindling away. How important is it to get a young cornerback in this draft? And you still got your dogs, right? You still got Reek and Spoon and all those guys. But is that a position you feel like needs to be just reloaded a bit?
Yeah, I would say so. And you typically do see that is a position that gets drafted quite a bit just because, cornerbacks end up playing on special teams quite often. So I think naturally you're going to, tend to draft cornerbacks. But, yeah, I mean, they signed the guy's name is escaping me right now, but he played last season in New Orleans. And I would view that as kind of a draft hedge, a veteran guy on a 1-year deal. I can't imagine it's for very much money, but he seems kind of like, a replacement option for Trey Brown to potentially serve as that fourth guy, but that's not the kind of move that's going to, that's not the kind of move that's going to, keep them from doing anything in the draft. And, you mentioned Rick Woolen, who's going into the final year of his rookie deal, and he's been, I would say, up and down to the point where I don't think it's a sure thing necessarily that he gets an extension. And so if that's the case, then, now would be a good time to start restocking that position with some potential alternatives.
All right, a look ahead here then. Brady, remind us what the Seahawks have to work with, what John Schneider has to work with in terms of weapons as they head into the draft. I don't know if you have, because I have no idea, a look at the remaining cap space. It doesn't sound like we can or should anticipate really aggressive moves here. So maybe what are we looking at heading into the draft, and how does it compare to the weapons they've had in past drafts?
It's quite a bit better. I mean, 10 picks in all, including 5 of the top 92. So, the 18th overall pick and then 2 picks apiece in the second and third rounds. And so they've got, this is maybe as good of a position as they've been in a while in terms of top end draft capital. They do have, quite a bit of quite a bit of cap space, probably more than they had intended because, again, I don't think they went into this month per se, into March, expecting to trade both Geno Smith and DK Metcalf. And again, they did make a run at Will Fries, so they were prepared to commit a chunk of that cap space to the offensive line. And so they do have quite a bit of money to play with. But I think, again, Will Fries was the only offensive lineman they were prepared to spend big money on. And, I just don't know if there's anybody out there at this point that's going to command a big deal. And again, the upgrades to the interior of their offensive line, if it wasn't going to be Will Fries, it was going to have to be somebody that they found in the draft. And again, relying on some of the younger players that they still believe in, even if, the outside world may not.
Last quick one before we let you go. You mentioned that you've got a column coming out on ESPN about how the Geno trade went down, what you were hearing about it. Remind us when we can keep an eye out for that.
Good question. I don't know that. I've got to check an email from my editors. So I don't have a great answer for you, but I would imagine sometime later this week.
Okay, well, we will let you guys know when we see that from Brady, and we are very eager to check it out. Great reporting, as always. Thank you so much, Brady.
Thanks, B.
You got it. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Let's get to 4 Down territory.
This is 4 Down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, Bump. What teams are in rebuild mode?
You said something earlier when we were prepping for the show. You said maybe I should be in like a different kind of mode, like being grateful and appreciative about gratitude, right?
Because we had all this news that was breaking, and for a minute I was like, what am I talking about today? And then I was like, wait.
Right, and I'm right there with you. And I always look at other teams, and because I'm an NFL fan, and I want to see what everyone else is doing. And I'm looking at other teams, and I'm thinking, well, the Hawks ain't that. They're not in this rebuild mode. So the teams that I think are in rebuild mode, one, I think you got to start with the Cleveland Browns. It's crazy to think that they are in rebuild mode, and they have one of the best players in the game on their squad. They're in rebuild mode. It's almost like that was a waste of money. Like, why even pay him all that? Because you're not going to be able to support him and give him what he needs to feel like he's a winner. But when you throw that money out there and you change a man's mind, it doesn't change the expectation of that team, unfortunately, in this situation. Then I look at the Colts. If Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones does not work out, you have to trade Jonathan Taylor. Get what you can out of him right now. He's already been in the league for 6 seasons. And we know as a running back, that is an eternity. He's got 3 seasons over 1,000 yards. He had 1,431 last year, 11 touchdowns. This is as good as it's going to get for this dude at this point. He is 26 years of age. And it's crazy we're talking about a guy who's been in the league 6 seasons. He's 26, and I'm talking about him as if it's going to be a wrap for him soon. You just won't be able to get a lot of money for him soon. And you're counting on Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson to be the one to try to turn this thing around. You have to get rid of him. After this year, it don't work out. It probably ain't going to work out. Just get rid of him. Get your trade value. Jags, there isn't enough talent around Trevor Lawrence at all. No talent around him. Well, there is talent, but they haven't been executing. Christian Kirk is gone. I believe he signed with another team. But that organization, you do have a new head coach. You do have some change going on over there. But when I look at their roster, there just isn't enough. No one is expecting the Jags to compete for a divisional championship, even though that division is weak as heck right now. Houston, Texas at the top, the Coastal Jags, and we'll see what the Titans do. But yeah, and then the last one, the Saints. 3 years too late. Y'all should have been flipped this thing around, get what you can for Kamara, and move on. That's why when I look at what the Hawks did, even though I wanted DK, I wanted Geno, I understand why you got to move guys. You got to move them where there is value for them, and if they don't want to be there, they don't want to be there. And then if not, you get caught up in this place of we're never going to be good enough to really compete. I know people are caught up in where the Hawks are now as far as, being a 9-10 win team, but it could be a lot worse. So those are my teams. Rebuild now. Cleveland, Colts, Jags, Saints. Get it over with.
Saints are good. Saints are the guy at the bar that needs to stop being served.
Cut him off.
You know what I mean? Cut him off. Like, you need to go home, sober up, and figure out your cap situation. God, stop paying people. Second down. What will be interesting about the way we'll look back on Cooper Kupp's career?
Kupp is an interesting player because we all know what he's capable of. In 2021, or was capable of, 1,900 yards, 141 receptions, and 16 touchdowns. I'm looking at his career, and you feel like he might be a Hall of Famer. But then you start looking at his seasons. He's only got 2 seasons with over 1,000 yards, right? When it comes to his all-time yards, 7,822 receiving yards. That's 80th on the list when it comes to that. 634 receiving yards. He's down there. He's got to catch Michael Irvin at 750. Then I'm trying to compare his situation to other situations. You got Sterling Sharp, who just got in the Hall of Fame. You have Lance Allworth with 10,000 yards, but then it was different era, right? Sharp was working in 1988 to 94. Lance Allworth back in the day, 62 to 72. Does the era matter? Cooper Kupp is going to be such a polarizing figure when it's all said and done because no one's expecting him to go for over 1,000 yards now. Like, he's averaged, 753 yards the last 3 years. Is that going to be enough for him to be considered a Hall of Fame? I know I'm going to appreciate him while he's here, but I was just thinking about how I viewed Kupp opposed to all the other elite receivers out there. And in my mind, I go, yeah, he's right up there with them. And I start looking at the numbers and availability, and I was a bit confused. So what's it going to be like when it's all said and done? I know he's going to put together some good years here, but he's going to be an interesting one.
Third down. How can things go horribly bad for the Bengals?
Man, so I just spent all this time telling you why people pay receivers what they pay them, right? Different perspective. But you know how this thing goes. You have to surround your team with talent. And that defense was just not very good last year. The offense did almost enough to sneak into the playoffs, and I think that's what the Bengals are banking on. Look, we got T. Higgins, we got Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow is still there. The offense can do enough to keep us competitive. But if you ever find diamonds in the rough, I feel like you do it more on defense because football is such just a raw athletic sport. You can find a fifth rounder, fourth rounder that can sack the quarterback 4 or 5 times and just contribute. Like, defense is the biggest group project of all because on offense, you pretty much know who's going to be out there every single snap. On defense, you rotate that defensive line, you switch your safeties in, you bring a nickel. There are ways that you can just stockpile some talent late in drafts to where you can be okay. But there's also a way to do it to where you have to pay guys. So receivers are important. The game has shown you that because what they're paying them, but it's all about the collective talent. If they get into the playoffs, it's going to be a win, but it's going to be tough for these dudes.
Pressure on to draft well, and this will. I'm spoiling a little bit of NFL headlines, but Diana Rossini reporting they're trying to extend Trey Hendrickson, and my first thought was how? How with what? Just give him a credit card? Like, I don't know.
Guaranteed money up front.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be interesting.
Fourth down. We began the 11 a.m. hour with a conversation with ESPN's Brady Henderson. Anything stand out from Brady?
Yeah, he said that the Sam Darnold contract is typically what the Seahawks do. So it worked out for them because they're looking at Sam Darnold and they're having conversations saying, yeah, you had a great year. We got to see this thing again. So when you offer him that type of contract to where there's a lot of money guaranteed up front and nothing in the back end, it's just business as usual. Coming off the year that Sam Darnold came off of, there's a space for him to feel disrespected. Like, oh, you got to give me my money. Sam doesn't seem like that type of person anyway. But it was interesting because he started going through the contracts with Geno and everything else that they've done. I go, yeah, this is standard practice for the Seahawks, but it's perfect timing as well because Sam had a good year. You need a quarterback. Hey, Sam, this is just how we do business here in Seattle. No hard feelings. Let's sign this contract and get it done.
I know we have been very Seahawks heavy, very NFL heavy, but we're going to switch gears a little bit. Coming up, we've got lots of March Madness stuff to talk about. Logan Gilbert, a conversation about him being named opening day starter. Congratulations, Logan. Coming up at 11:45. Mariners broadcaster Gary Hill joining us live from Peoria at noon. So we are going to switch gears, but we have some important contracts, some important news to talk about with the NFL. So we'll be getting back at 12:30. We're not done. And I don't know, maybe we'll get a free agent signing to report from the Seahawks. Everyone's still looking to see when they're going to add to that offensive line. Like you said, good stuff from Brady on that. Coming up next, it's been less than 24 hours since Selection Sunday, and we already have a March Madness controversy.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk. Weekdays 6 to 10.
Sam Darnold, new quarterback for your Seattle Seahawks.
Feeling so welcome, the second that I walked in the building. Really looking forward to also just playing games at Lumen Field. Those fans are electric, to say the least. Man, I'm just so excited to call myself a Seahawk and just, make that home for, hopefully years to come.
Hear the rest of this interview on demand at seattlesports.com and on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's orchard.com.
Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. The best place to watch all your favorite sports. Featuring wall-to-wall viewing screens, 6 windows, and 30 kiosks. Be there at emeraldqueen.com. Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Superior Linen Service will help your company with logo apparel, uniforms, floor mats, linen, and more. Give us a call. We answer the phone. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do. Visit suplinen.com.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity. So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and 1 unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus 1 unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus 1 unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Do you need a new roof? Don't wait for summer to replace it. 3Tree Roofing is here to help you save big this winter. Avoid summer's higher prices and longer wait times and protect your home's integrity now. Visit 3treeroofing.com for your free on-site estimate. Our certified installers make it easy and worry-free, no matter the season. Don't wait. Book your estimate today at 3treeroofing.com. Mention this ad and get $500 off your roof replacement. 3Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Washington State ranks number 5 in the country for auto theft. The most high-risk vehicles are Kia, Hyundai, Ford F-150, F-250, and F-350. Help keep your car safe with these simple and important tips. Don't leave your car running unattended. Park in well-lit areas. Lock up every time. Keep valuables out of sight. Use an anti-theft device like a steering wheel lock. Share this information with friends and family. Prevent the theft and keep you and your vehicle safe. These tips brought to you by the Washington Auto Theft Prevention Authority.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It is The Timeline on Bump and Stacy, reading you the top stories you're going to see and hear about your own timeline, about the world of sports. Let's start with this one. Less than 24 hours since Selection Sunday, we already have March Madness controversy. The UNC Tar Heels were the final team selected for the tourney, despite going 1-12 against Quad A opponents, 22-13 overall. The tournament selection committee was chaired by, North Carolina Athletic Director Bubba Cunningham, who receives a bonus of $67,000 if they make the tournament. Wow. ESPN analyst Fran Francella tweeted, whether North Carolina should be in or not is a good debate. Their AD is the chairman of the selection committee, but cannot be in the room when the Tar Heels are discussed. Okay, fair. But it's human nature that it doesn't hurt UNC's chances when other members of the committee have spent so much time with him. Not criticizing, but just pointing it out. So basically being like, look, Bubba Cunningham isn't in here going, and for my last selection, we're going to go ahead and go with my school that I am AD of, North Carolina. But Fran's right. Him being part of that selection process otherwise does influence the view.
Yeah, it does. Like, he's not sitting there talking about his team and what they can do and why they would be an attractive draw in the tournament. I'm looking at their schedule trying to find like a signature win, and I can't find it. I mean, you beat UCLA when they were number 18 at the time, I guess.
But if that's your signature win.
Stacey, I can't find it. You beat Boston College in overtime? No. You've lost to Clemson. You did finish the season pretty good, but you beat Syracuse, NC State, Virginia, Florida State, Miami, but none of these teams are ballers like that. There's definitely something going on here. There's some influence for sure. And also it's the allure of North Carolina too.
Yeah.
Like, people look at, there's some logos that just give you good vibes, good feels. And no matter what the Tar Heels are doing, you look at North Carolina, you think of the history. Oh, Michael Jordan, Sam Perkins, Vince Carter, Rasheed Wallace. There's a long history there, and that influences. And then you got somebody on the inside.
Someone on the inside is also Parker Posey. Matt, I know you're watching this season of White Lotus. Parker Posey's character went to UNC. Are you watching this season of White Lotus?
Tsunami.
No. Parker. Or whatever.
No.
She went to UNC. In my conspiracy-riddled mind, Parker Posey is influencing UNC's selection into the committee, into the tourney. On CBS Sports Network's Bracket Breakdown, John Rothstein went off on UNC's inclusion.
I say this to Gary a lot, especially the last few days. You're a better man than I am, because I'm going to talk about the bad right now, and I'm going to talk about it emphatically. If the criteria for the NCAA tournament in terms of getting an at-large bid is to beat other NCAA tournament teams if you're on the bubble, how in the world could North Carolina get an at-large bid over Indiana and over West Virginia? Indiana, unlike North Carolina, has no quad 3 and 4 losses. Indiana went on the road to East Lansing and beat Michigan State, who's a 2 seed, and beat Purdue on its home floor, who is a 4 seed in this bracket. And Indiana did not get in the NCAA tournament. Then let's talk about West Virginia. West Virginia won a game at Allen Fieldhouse. West Virginia beat Gonzaga on a neutral court. It beat Arizona on a neutral court. It also beat Iowa State. And North Carolina is in over those two teams? I'm just waiting for somebody to say, we got some swamp water to sell you in Florida. That's how I feel right now. Now, with that said, I want to bring this in. North Carolina not deserving to be in has no bearing on how the Tar Heels could play in the bracket.
That's right.
Look at VCU in 2011.
It's a good caveat at the end. It's like, look, they don't deserve to be in it, but since they're in, who knows what's going to happen. Now, they did win, they beat Duke. No, Duke ended up still beating North Carolina. But, yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff going on here. You got someone on the inside. You have a great history over there of basketball. That influences things, but there's nothing you can do about it. All you can do is complain about it and hope they learn from it next year.
You know who likes complaining is Aaron Rodgers. He headlines our next story here. When asked about the rumors of Minnesota's interest in Rodgers, longtime Viking radio play-by-play voice Paul Allen expressed skepticism about how he would fit in Minnesota. In an interview with Sports Illustrated, Allen said, quote, he, meaning Aaron, becomes the identity of the football team. If you sign Aaron Rodgers, he has become the polarizing identity of your covenant. And when you bring someone in like that, it's not just having Gardner Minshew as your backup. It's not Skylar Thompson as your backup. It's Aaron Rodgers, man, and he ain't coming here to be a backup.
Yeah, that's real. I mean, you and I talked about this last week. He's 41, 4-time MVP, won a Super Bowl, gonna get into the Hall of Fame. That's not who he is right now, though. You're looking at the resume and the ego. Like, I read those accolades off to you, and I bet you he has those written on his mirror every morning so he wakes up and gives himself words of affirmation. That is how Aaron Rodgers operates, and he's not trying to be a backup. And we've seen that he doesn't want to groom anybody either. He's one of the most selfish quarterbacks I think we've ever had to cover in this game. Has he had some good years? For sure. I don't think he's there now. I don't think he's a bad quarterback now. But you don't bring a guy over who is going to pout and shake things up if he doesn't get what he wants. That's what's so dangerous about Aaron Rodgers. I still think he can play some good ball. We talked about the 19 starters in this league who deserve to be there. He's one of them, for sure. But the situation has to be right, and you got to be able to give up a lot of power or deal with someone that is more about themselves than anyone else.
So with that being said, if you were a researcher that was hired by teams interested in signing Aaron Rodgers, and you were to tell them, if you are this as a team, you cannot afford to sign Rodgers. And I don't mean financially. I mean, like, this will sink you. Like, what teams could survive having Rodgers and what teams simply could not?
What teams can survive?
Or, like, what type of team could not survive adding Rodgers to a locker room?
I know the Pittsburgh Steelers, I felt like would have been the perfect situation because it's old money over there. You know, Vikings feel like new money. You know, and sometimes people get new money, they don't know how to act, and there's no stability. There's no like real tradition. There is tradition with the Vikings. Don't get purple people eaters, all that stuff. I get it, but I'm talking about just who's on that roster right now and how things have been ran. You got a young coach over there as well. Pittsburgh would have been great. I don't think any locker room at this point. We're going to send him to Tennessee?
Right.
No, they're not good enough. He's not going to want to play there. We're going to send him to Cleveland? No, you're not winning anything at Cleveland. He has to be selfish to where he has to put himself in a position where you want to win. He's too old for that. I'm too old to be playing games, Stacy. I go home at latest amount is 11 o'clock. I'm too old for that. You know, like that's where he is. He's too old to put himself in a place where he doesn't think they can win.
Yeah.
I'm looking at all the teams right now. I don't see a locker room that isn't a Pittsburgh Steelers or the Chiefs if they didn't have Pat Mahomes and stuff, to where I felt like he's going to be okay and help the room, right? You got to be a leader and a nurturer, and he's just not that.
Next up, the Dodgers, making headlines here. Shortstop Mookie Betts will not play in the 2-game Tokyo series against the Cubs because of an illness that has lingered for the past week. Dave Roberts said Monday Mookie's starting to feel better, which is good, but he's lost nearly 15 pounds, so is still trying to rehydrate and gain strength.
Mookie ain't got 15 pounds to lose. He already, 5'9", 5'10", like $175,
One of my fellow
$180.
petites.
Yeah, man. Just get better, Mook, because we're going to need you for this run we going on, baby.
Okay.
Get better.
Next up, the Sacramento A's and the Chicago White Sox will be the only two MLB teams without any nationally televised games, in 2025. ESPN, Fox, FS1, TBS, Apple TV, and Roku will all be broadcasting games this season. The Dodgers, lo and behold, everyone's surprised, lead the count with 21 nationally televised games, followed by the Mets with 20, the top two spenders, and the Padres with 19. The Mariners are scheduled to have 13, a number I'm okay with.
Look, as messed up as it is, don't nobody want to see Sacramento A's play. Don't nobody want to see that. No one has a Sacramento merch right now. You know, no one wants to see that. But sometimes you have to help the little homie out and bring him to the party with you, or take him and have him experience some stuff. I understand why they're doing it, because those are two of the worst teams in the game right now. No one's going to watch those games unless they're playing the Dodgers or somebody, and then you're still not going to get the eyes that you normally get. It's just business. It ain't personal, but nobody wants to watch those teams play.
Is anyone out there actually complaining about the Dodgers or the Mets getting so many televised games? Like, who in their right mind is going, this isn't fair? What do you mean it's not fair? It's baseball.
You might
Those
not
are
like
the two
it.
big spenders.
You might not like it.
Yeah.
But it's fair.
I just feel like if you're someone that finds yourself complaining, you need to be honest about the world of competition, the world of sports not being fair. And it is ironic if you're also someone that complains about participation trophies. The Dodgers are coming off a World Series win and have spent a ton of money. Of course they're getting.
You know they're going to put a good product out there.
They've got
It's entertainment.
Of course they're
Otani's
getting
back on the
these
mound
games.
this year. Come on.
Like, it's just going to be absolutely unreal. Well, speaking of being on the mound, Logan Gilbert named opening day starter. Let's transition to the Mariners here. I'm done talking about the Dodgers as much as I was saying, hey, just accept it. That's how the world is. We can also choose to focus on the Mariners coming up here. We've got Mariners broadcaster Gary Hill joining us live from Peoria at noon. And coming up next, a chance to set the tone for the season from Logan Gilbert. Don't go anywhere.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk. Weekdays 6 to 10.
Is he perfect? No, but you got to be pretty happy when you see a player like DeMarcus Lawrence join the Seahawks yesterday.
He's just different. He's cut out of a different piece of granite. Obviously, with this signing, the Seahawks think he's still got a bunch of that in his tank. You pair him with Boye Mafe and Derek Hall and Uchenna Nwosu when that deal gets redone. That's a formidable foursome that not many in the league have.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey friends, Stacy Ross here. Who has some of the best deals on new Fords and Isuzus in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who has a large selection of the highest quality used vehicles in the Pacific Northwest? That would also be Wayscar Ford in Auburn. And what dealership promises no games, no gimmicks, and never any pressure to purchase? Yes, that is correct. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn still. Who's the only Ford dealer in all of Washington to offer a 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back return policy? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They offer free lifetime powertrain warranty on virtually all of their new Fords. Who's the only dealer that will purchase your used car, pay you right up front, and then once they resell your old car, return 50% of the profit to you? Only Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They've given over $750,000 back to customers who have sold them their cars. And finally, what dealership has been family-owned and operated in Auburn for over 103 years? You guessed it, Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Visit them at wayscarford.com.
Things are just better when you switch to Cricket. The sun shines a little brighter. Happy music starts randomly playing. Best of all, you can get iPhone 13 for just $29.99. With the ultra-bright Super Retina display and up to 19 hours of video playback, all on Cricket's super-fast 5G network. See? Isn't that better? Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new account imported on $60 plan. First service charge, tax to its sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
Progressive knows you've got enough to worry about in life.
Hi, it's your life again. Feel like another year is just slipping away? Yeah, remember all those New Year's resolutions you made? You still haven't finished the first book. Just 19 more to go. I mean, if we're being honest, it wasn't a very realistic goal. Have you ever considered that you intentionally self-sabotage? So what's that about?
So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just one day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed one-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
This is the story of the one. He's responsible for keeping a leading healthcare facility clean and safe. And he trusts Grainger's high-quality HVAC cleaning and safety products, combined with their world-class supply chain, to consistently deliver, ensuring he's covered inside and out, so he can focus on keeping his facility clean to help protect the health of everyone inside. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The noon hour of the Bump and Stacy Show is powered every day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to pendergastlaw.com.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
No matter how old you get, you always remember that one great teacher.
Hi, this is Rick Riz, inviting you to join WSECU in celebrating Teacher of the Week. Great teachers inspire. Nominate a teacher you feel has changed a life in our community. This year, we're going to honor 24 great teachers with grants of $500, courtesy of WSECU, the credit union for Washington. Teachers are the real MVPs. Nominate an exceptional teacher now at mynorthwest.com/teacher.
The brackets are now open. Compete in the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
The nonprofit Puget Sound Senior Baseball League plays real baseball on the best fields. Final tryouts for adults ages 18 to 65 and older are this Sunday, March 23rd at Interlake High School in Bellevue. With 10 divisions featuring different age and skill levels, there's room for almost every ball player, from ex-Little Leaguers to high school and even former college and pros. Get all the info at pssbl.com. That's pssbl.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Congratulations to Logan Gilbert, who on Saturday was named the Mariners' opening day starter. Before I dive into reaction from Logan, some good cuts here, good sound. Were you at all surprised, Bump? I know that you said, nah, make it Logan. Respect to Castillo, but you were very for making Logan the opening day starter.
I started with Castillo, and then I flipped to Logan.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, he's your best pitcher. He's it. He's going to be your tone setter. I'm sure him meeting Randy helped his mental even more. But when you are the Mariners in the position that they are in, you have to come out hot. You have to give the people something to cheer about, and this is going to do that. Not only is he your best pitcher, but I think this is what the majority of the fans wanted anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So you go ahead and give the people what you want, but at the same time, you're putting your best dog out there.
Can I also just say I'm glad the Mariners didn't make a move simply because they thought that it would be nice or sentimental. And this isn't me saying that naming Luis Castillo a starter would only be sentimental. He's a dog. You know what I mean? He was your ace last year. And the only reason he's not is because you have so much talent with that rotation that you could look at Kirby and go, okay. You could look at Logan and go, yeah, that makes sense. That's a good thing to have. But the Mariners team that I grew up with is also one that does sometimes and has sometimes made more emotional-centered decisions or fan-centered decisions at a time when you want them to be aggressive, be tough, rip the Band-Aid off, do what you need to do to compete. And I can critique all I want about a lack of super competitive moves this offseason. I can at least respect the decision to go, no, we see Logan as our best guy, and we're going to go with him. Forget trying not to hurt feelings.
Yeah, because there's a transition that happens naturally in sports where the older guy just kind of fades out, and he could be fading out and still be a integral part of what you're doing. I think that's what Castillo is at this point. He's just not your top dog anymore. And then luckily for the Mariners is that you're dealing with someone like Castillo, who you know isn't going to trip. I'm going to play my role, and I just want to win ball games. So, no, this is the circle of life in sports, and we're seeing it happen in real time.
Here's Logan on being named opening day starter.
I was super excited, obviously. A little caught off guard because I didn't want to expect it, of course, with Louis being the veteran guy, and I thought he's completely deserving. We have a bunch of guys on our staff that could be opening day starters. But when he told me, I was excited, a little caught off guard all at the same time, but, it's something you always dream of. It's a really big deal, so I don't take it lightly.
If anyone's wondering how Luis Castillo responded to it, here's Logan.
Gosh, I can't say enough about Louis, who he is as a person, the way he handled that situation, everything, because I never want to step on toes. You don't know how it's going to be received or whatever, and like I said, I think he's completely deserving. He was more excited for me than I was. I mean, he's that type of guy. Dan told me, and for 5 seconds probably, I don't think a word came out. I was just taking it in, and Lou was like, say something, super excited for me, and giving me hugs and all this kind of stuff. So I mean, that's just the kind of guy he is. It's behind closed doors, he's the exact same thing that you see.
I know we're ultimately talking about Logan here getting this honor. First time ever in his career, he's an opening day starter. That being said, Bump, I was touched to hear about Castillo's reaction.
That's important because Castillo could have not ruin the moment, but put a damper on it. You know, and could have been quiet and a bit salty, but also understand that, okay, this is just what happens. But for him to visibly or publicly give his support for Logan, I think that means a lot. I think however Castillo would have reacted, Logan went out and did his thing either way. He's a professional. He's one of the best in the game. But when you have the support of your older guys, it goes a long way. I remember when Bobby Ingram gave me his stamp, and I'll never forget this, man. We were at the we're getting water, and I'm talking to him. I'm like, man, Bobby, you've been playing 14 years and all this yada yada. And he goes, yeah, it's been a blessing. And then he told me, he goes, Bump, you can play in this league. And that was it. He told me that. I go, oh, it's a wrap. Let's get it. Like your mental changes. And obviously that's on a lower scale because Logan has already done this. He's proven in this league already. But when you have a veteran support you like that and give you that love, man, it goes a long way.
Have you ever been in a room, and maybe it didn't have to be directly with you, but where a veteran wasn't supportive, and could you see the impact that might have had on guys?
Oh, yeah. In my receiver room, I'm not going to say who the guy was, but he was in his later years in his career.
Looking over his shoulder.
Yeah, and he showed no love. He helped nobody. Yeah. And it was almost like there was a dark cloud that walked in the room every time he was around because we knew where he was in his career, so we kind of understood it. But also everyone else was just, we had all made the squad. It's all love now. Okay, the competition is essentially over. Everyone's made the team. Let's just help each other get better. And he was not about that.
I would imagine that this is always fascinating to me. Every single person in a MLB clubhouse, in an NFL locker room, has to be hyper competitive. You have to think you're the best. And by virtue of competition, one person gets to be the best. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. One person gets to be the best receiver in a room. One person gets to be the opening day starter. It doesn't mean the other people aren't talented, but it probably does take a special level of self-control, of awareness, of, I don't know, grit or whatever, to be able to not be that person and go, okay, what do you need? What do you need from me as your teammate?
And here's the reality of it is that for the most part, everyone knows where they stand in the group. I'm sure Castillo knew that this was a possibility. He was not surprised by this whole thing. Professionals understand where they are, and the professionals who have had great careers are secure enough to be okay. All right, this is where I am in my career. This is where he is in his career, and this is what the team thinks is best for them. It's not like I'm not going to get on the mound and do my thing. I just ain't going to be the first one to do it. So I think that shows awareness by Castillo, but also shows us how tight that group is too. When your leader is patting your guy on the back and getting him ready.
Logan talking about how opening days always felt to him.
Yeah, I think back to high school and college, and it's like it felt like a holiday on opening day. It's the first game of the year. All the best pitchers are out there. So to me, and I'm an extreme baseball fan, so it's probably different, but I felt like the world stopped for that day, and everybody just had their TV on and watched the best pitchers in the game go at it. So it feels like a holiday. It always has for me, and I'm sure it will again this year.
What's opening day feel like to you?
As an analyst, as a fan?
Both. If it's different, then I'm curious to hear.
It feels like an opportunity. It always feels like an opportunity. It feels like you're watching something that's developed over the offseason a long time finally show up, and you're anxious at the same time because you want to see if every move that was made and that wasn't made is going to show itself, which is hard to do in one game when you're playing 162, but it's the beginning of that. It's the beginning. Like, this is your chance to court me again and to make me believe in you and want to date you for the year.
Listen, Mariners.
Yeah, this is your chance. So it's a chance for the players to show all their hard work. I think that's the best thing about sports is that the offseason is so long and there's the process that people don't really see. And you show up and you get to let it all out and just have some fun. And no matter what happens, opening day is always fire. I mean, the atmosphere is crazy.
That's how I feel too. It's the day when it's the most sentimental you'll be about baseball, I think. And I think for a lot of Mariners fans, that's probably where you get some conflicting opinions. If you're someone that actually is sincerely, and I want to leave room for this, there are people that feel sincerely fine about the Mariners offseason that truly believe, I think Jorge Polanco healthier, and I think Garver with another year, and I think, Julio with a bounce back, and JP with a bounce back can be really great, and I have faith in Cal. I want to leave room for people that do feel that way and want to just feel optimistic and excited about opening day. I think there's another portion of the fan base that goes, opening day has always meant something so special to me. Maybe it's, a tradition you have of going with a parent or a sibling or a friend or a child. Maybe it's, that baseball is your favorite sport, and you hear the crispness, of a bat against a ball, and you just think it's back. And then there's frustration mingled with that. I'm trying to kind of navigate through that.
Opening day to me is the best first game of any American sport. It is the best. It's better than NFL kickoff weekend. It is better than NBA. It is the best.
Yep. Well, speaking of opening day, it's almost here. 27th, right around the corner. We are just over a week away, and we are sending one of you and a friend to experience it like never before. So imagine getting front row access to the opening day ceremonies, player introductions, the first pitch, and so much more, all from the field. To enter, all you need to do is open the Seattle Sports app and click on the Win tab to find out how. If you don't already have the app, text the word app, APP, to 866-979-3776, and we'll send you a link to download. Enter daily to increase your chances to win. The contest runs through Friday, March 21st. Mariners broadcaster Gary Hill joins us next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Just a bit of news surrounding the Seahawks right now. According to Adam Schefter, Cooper Kupp is signing with the Seattle Seahawks. No hard and fast numbers yet. Ian Rappaport speculating he's likely to make $15 million per year or more. And then Adam Schefter saying the Seahawks are giving Cooper Kupp a 3-year deal per source. So Cooper Kupp is coming to the Seattle Seahawks.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Hello. Welcome to Lee Johnson Auto Family. This is King. This organization's a special one. They call it the Lee Johnson Auto Family, and it's not just a name. It's not just some cliche. They foster an environment for us to become a family, to work together, to really become close, and they show us in a lot of different ways that they do value us. Is it perfect? No place is. But I've been very thankful to be here in the almost 10 years and have every plan to stay here for a lot longer and just watch it continue to grow.
He's fun and professional, which explains why so many people visiting Lee Johnson Kia ask for him by name. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto Family.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. With thousands of full replacements with expert craftsmanship and unbeatable warranties, we've been building roofs you can trust for over 5 decades. It's more than just a job, it's our promise to you. Protect your investment with a free Golden Pledge warranty on all GAF roof replacements over $15,000. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Finding the right employee for your company is tough. One wrong hire can be a major setback. You're not alone if you face this. A recent survey by Robert Half shows nearly half of hiring managers readily admit to making a bad hire. Luckily, there's a solution. With Robert Half's specialized recruiter's experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can have the right skilled professional in place quickly. We understand what it takes to build winning teams because at Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
Congratulations to Logan Gilbert, who this weekend was named Mariners opening day starter. There might have been some fans wondering how last year's starter, Luis Castillo, would take the news. Turns out, like a great teammate, Castillo told MLB's Daniel Kramer, "I'm super happy for Logan. I've had 3 or 4 opening days, and this is his first one." The Husky women are dancing again. Washington women's basketball made the NCAA tourney for the first time since 2017. They'll take on fellow number 11 Columbia Thursday at 4 p.m.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Broadcaster Gary Hill joining us on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline live from Peoria. And Gary, we got some news over the weekend. Logan Gilbert named opening day starter. Congratulations to Logan. I wasn't anticipating in any way that Luis Castillo would be salty or upset. I've only heard good things, but I'm hoping you could give us a little more insight into Castillo's reaction and the just chemistry with this starting rotation.
Yeah, it's pretty great news. It's pretty exciting news. I feel awesome for Logan Gilbert, who certainly earned it last year. He had a spectacular season last year. And for me, it's an honor that can be shared with more than just Logan. Obviously, Logan went out and did it, but what he has done through the course of his career, his young career, and the pitcher he started and the pitcher he is now, he's evolved to be truly one of the best pitchers in the game. And I think there's a lot of people that can have a hand and feel good about that in the Mariners organization. And one of those guys is Luis Castillo. And as strange as it is to say, he can take a lot of pride in Logan Gilbert taking the mound for the first time, because Luis Castillo has had certainly a hand in helping Logan to get where he is. And it's great to hear that Luis was super excited for Logan. That could have been an awkward situation. It certainly was the opposite of that. From everything we've heard, Castillo was so thrilled for Logan Gilbert. And, you know, it's funny when you have a staff like this, there are certain staffs where it's very obvious who should be the opening day guy. And with this staff, it's not as obvious because they have a lot of good pitchers. That's the deal. And maybe next year it's going to be Bryce Miller. Maybe it's going to be Luis Castillo again next year. Like, who knows? But that's the kind of staff that's been cultivated, and that's the kind of culture that I think has been cultivated. Logan Gilbert went out and really earned this.
That's awesome to hear. I'm listening to you talk about the possibilities at the opening day spot. And naturally, me being a football player, I start to relate it back to football. And offensive linemen, 5 of them, they're always the tightest group on a football team because they just do things no one else can do. They're a different type of body, different type of mind. Would that be a good comparison for this rotation? They're the offensive linemen of this team and just get together and get along in ways that other positions don't.
Yeah, they do, because they all can identify with one another. They all watch each other's bullpens. They all collaborate. And I give Logan Gilbert a lot of credit for that, too, because I think he is set the path for the guys behind him, whether you're talking about Bryce Miller or Brian Wu. We were talking on the broadcast yesterday with Bryce Miller. He has done a lot of the similar things that Logan Gilbert has done. They both started out fastball heavy and have really evolved and changed and become different pitchers along the way. I think for Bryce Miller, that was just sped up because Logan Gilbert came before him. And there's a reason why every spring training now we talk about, this guy's adding this pitch and this guy's adding this pitch. And it really is a culture, and they work with each other. And there's a healthy competition there, but they really do collaborate as a group. I think that's a good comparison because it is really unique.
I was just about to ask Gary if that is different than some other organizations you've heard. Maybe some have, starter groups that are pretty tight, but I've gotten the impression that what Seattle has is kind of unique and different. Has that been your experience? Yeah, it is, and part because this isn't a normal situation. You normally don't have 5 guys like this of this quality that are all taking the ball every single day. You look at last year, 7 different starters, and one of them only threw one time. I mean, this really is a group. You look at a lot of teams, and they can have a dozen, 14, 15 different starters in the course of the season. So I think that helps bind a group together. They're all really good. A lot of them came up together. They're all in this for the first time together, whether you're talking about Wu and Miller and Logan Gilbert and Kirby for that matter. So it is a really unique situation, and I'm not sure another rotation has captured this as a group, and partly because just the circumstances of how they are together.
Hey, going into the season, we were told that there'd be a different approach when it comes to some of these starters getting more at-bats. I don't know if you remember the exact numbers from last year. Like right now, you got Randy at 37 ABs, Julio at 35. Have you seen that ramp up a bit?
Yeah, we saw Cal yesterday. He didn't play in the minor league game, the major league game, but went to the minor league field and got some extra plate appearances. We've seen Cal play quite a bit. Yesterday we saw a couple starters go the distance with a week to go, so that's the first time we've seen that. Dylan Moore got 6 plate appearances in a game. That's probably a Cactus League high this season, so congratulations to him. But yeah, I think we've seen Julio, it feels like, in the lineup a little more often. And I'm really curious to see, now that we're down the stretch here this last week, what it's going to look like. How often are we going to see these guys? I go back and forth on this all the time. It's like, get your work in, but this is really hold your breath time. Like, I hate this part of spring training. It's like, just play and please nothing happen. Just get your at-bats, do your thing. I don't care if you go 0 for 12. I don't care if you go 12 for 12. Just walk away fine. So that's what I'm most concerned about this time of spring. But it does feel like for the starters, they've been in there a little bit more than normal.
Those starters are, kind of what we wanted to start, with you talking about, obviously, with the news about Logan, and it's the fun stuff to talk about when it comes to the Mariners. This team, it feels like, will only go so far as Julio might take them. So let's transition to a name that you mentioned there. How's his spring been? What can you tell us about maybe what he's doing behind the scenes, what he's been working on, what you've seen?
It's been good. Last year I was thinking about it. He was talking about it the other day, how he wasn't fully healthy in the spring last year, which – you think about the transition to the regular season, and that can really stunt what you want to do, and you can kind of stumble out of the gates if you don't get the plate appearances you want, if you don't feel as great as you want to feel. So from that perspective, it's been great just to see him healthy, running around, getting his plate appearances, and he's looked fine. He's crushed a couple of home runs, which has been great to see, but I think the number one thing has been the health so far this spring, and going into the regular season, just being healthy and ready to go, I think is a big step.
There was a couple infield battles going on, if you want to call them that, to start spring training. What's the update on that situation?
It's a good question. Just kind of looking as this situation is playing out, it feels like Ryan Bliss has done a lot to earn a spot, not only on the team, but perhaps even the open day second baseman. Now, we're still a week away or so from the start of the season, but he's playing really well. And, it does, if he takes that spot, it does open up things for Dylan Moore, which, as we know, he's so great at moving around. He's a plus defender at so many different positions. So if that is the case, it does give the Mariners some flexibility in that regard. The final spot on the roster, I think, is super interesting. Rowdy Tellez has made a statement in this spring, and I think there certainly is a spot for him when you look at they're really right-handed right now, and having an extra left-handed bat, especially when you kind of look at where are these DH plate appearances going to go. I think Rowdy Tellez has made a case for making the roster and getting some, the strong side of a DH platoon. Perhaps we'll see how it plays out, but there's a lot of plate appearances there to happen. And the one thing, we always talk about opening day roster and who starts with the roster. Sometimes, guys that make huge impacts don't necessarily start on the team the opening day or first couple weeks of the season. But, I understand as we go down the stretch, those are kind of the jobs to watch. But those are the couple guys I think really stand out. And as we head down the stretch with really not that many jobs open, we're talking about kind of the last roster spot, the last bullpen spot, and the second base battle, of course.
We spoke with Shannon Dreyer about a week ago, and she mentioned how many of the players on this team, position players on this team, were also really reflective of the ways that they struggled last year and the lack of contributions that they made. That there's a lot of self-awareness, basically, with the players, as much as, people on the outside, fairly complain or say, where are the big moves? Please add more. That there is some self-reflection happening with these players. I wanted to turn from from Julio to JP. What can you tell me about his spring, and have you been able to chat with him at all about how he looks back on his 2024 season?
Yeah, it was a real struggle last year for JP, for, health-wise and production-wise, too. Even when he was healthy, it wasn't the same as the year before. Now, I don't think we can ask for a repeat of 2 years ago. That may have been his career year, but, there's a big gap between what we saw last year and what we saw the year before. And if he can close that gap, that would be enormous for the Mariners. And for me, it does start with health with him as well. And he's looked really good. He's moved around really well this spring. That's been great to see. And, you hit on something I think really important when you look at this version of the Mariners, because you can look at it up and down the lineup. Mariners are hoping for bounce backs from JP, from Polanco, from Garver. Julio taking it to the next level. That's what you're looking at with this lineup. The one thing that really stuck out to me in September, there's a few things that stuck out, but, compared to what we saw at the beginning of the season, where it felt like there were 4 or 5 spots really struggling at a time early in the season. And it's really hard to maintain anything, any cohesion, any production offensively when you have that many spots struggling. What really stood out to me the final month of the season was they were getting contributions up and down the lineup. And not that everyone was a superstar up and down the lineup, but a lot of times you don't need that. You can just have a guy that's average in a spot, but that's better than being well below average. That's a big step forward. And if you can have contributions up and down, that's going to make a big difference. Why? And it's why I think that's so important in the conversation with, all the guys I just listed, because they really do need at least a couple of those guys to bounce back. And JP would be enormous because, as you look at this team, I think you feel really good about the outfield production. I think you feel great about Cal, obviously behind home plate, if not the best catcher, one of the 2 best catchers in baseball. The question marks are with the infield. I think you feel great about Rayleigh at first, but what about second, short, and third? Those are the question marks. And if JP can be closer to what he was 2 years ago, that answers one of the questions, and then you're just looking at 2 different spots. So that JP goes a long way to figuring this thing out.
Gary, that's what keeps me optimistic about this season. It's like, look, we've seen some of these guys play some better ball, and if they do bounce back, the potential of this team is awesome. And then we talked about just opening day and kind of what it means, and I described it as it's the best first day of any American sport we have. It's just different. What's opening day for you? What do you look forward to? What are your vibes, your feels? Describe it for me.
I agree with that. I think opening day is the greatest. If it were up to me, it would be a holiday. Like none of us would work, including you. You wouldn't go to the station that day. You'd have that day off. It'd be great. It should be a national holiday. It's the greatest day on the calendar. That means we're going to have baseball every single day until the World Series is over moving forward, which is phenomenal. I just love it. I love it every year. It's, man, you get the butterflies. You have the hope, the dreams. Like everything is alive for every team on that day. You know, some teams you may get squashed in game one if you get routed in game one and things don't look good. But it's all alive, right? Anything is possible on opening day for every single team. All the hopes and dreams, which I love. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to opening day in Seattle. It's always one of my favorite days. It seems like the Mariners always open at home, and it's such a great event, and the crowd is always phenomenal. I love the introductions. It's one of my favorite things, with everyone lining up on the lines and, you know, the crowd cheering for their favorites, and it's just the best, and I can't wait. I'm so thrilled that we're actually closing in. It feels like we're getting close to the finish line here, which I'm really excited about. As much fun as it's been down here, I am ready to come home. Please. I want to come home.
We're ready to get you guys back here and get this thing started. Just over a week away right now. Last question for me, Gary. Typically, I don't watch the start of a baseball season with any expectation. Like, I hope for wins and I hope for things to take away. But we all know, adages about, baseball starts slow. Nothing matters until, the summer, blah, blah, blah. With the Mariners, I'm trying to kind of shift how I view the season. But that means learning how to take in information early. What's a fair way to judge April, for instance? Like, I can't go by wins and losses, maybe, but like, what can I look for that feels fair?
Yeah, that's a good question. How I look at April is you don't want to bury yourself. You can't win the division. You can't punch your ticket to the postseason in the playoffs to get to the playoffs in the first month, but you can make it really hard on yourself if you have a slow start. And part of that is just a comparison game. You know, if the Texas Rangers get off to a blistering start, like, the Mariners are going to have to play well to stay in touch. Like, if everyone's hovering around 500, that's great. So part of it is just a comparison, what everyone else is doing. But, yeah, but that's how I look at it. It's just don't bury yourself. Now, would you love to get off to a blazing fast start? Absolutely. That would be ideal. But if you get 6, 7, 8 games back early on, that is a huge hole to climb out of. And we've seen that from the Mariners over the last few years. Not every year, but we've seen it a couple of times where they've gotten off to a slow start and they've had to dig out of a hole. That's something that they really, obviously, Captain Obvious here, would like to avoid this year.
All right, Operation Don't Bury Yourself.
Yes, don't bury yourself. Yeah. High expectations. I get it.
No, and I honestly, I'm glad that Bump asked you about what opening day means, because I know that as we have this conversation, so many people are thinking about the sentimental attachment they have to baseball, what it means to them, what it means to entire families, and that goes back for generations for so many people. So we are very excited to get you and the crew back up here to Seattle to kick this thing off next Thursday. So, Gary, it's always a pleasure to hear from you and see you.
Yes.
To see you for an interview. Have a good one.
It's great to see you. Thanks a lot. See you soon.
Bye. Let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it. Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Auburn, Duke, Houston, and Florida have been named the #1 seeds in this year's NCAA basketball tournament. What's their headline?
Guys, can you believe it's already March?
My gosh.
This is a headline making fun of me.
My goodness.
I'm that person in every office. I'm sorry.
We're deep into March, too.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. It's I'm going to be that person on April 1st. I won't be here, but I guarantee you, when I get back on the 3rd, be like, you guys, can you believe it's April? I
love March because it feels like everything is getting back to normal. You got March Madness coming up. You have the baseball season that's starting. You're closer to the NBA and NHL playoffs. It feels like, okay, the slow period is dead. But focusing on the tournament, I love the new #1s, right? Mm-hmm. Duke has been there 15 times. We get it. Auburn is their second #1 seed. Houston, their 4th, and Florida, their 3rd. I like this, man. I want to see some new names up there. Even though we've seen a couple of these names before, it just lets you know where basketball is right now. And there's a lot of talent out there overall. North Carolina has the most number ones, and then you have Kansas and Kentucky and Arizona. But we're not even talking about those guys. Now, you should talk about them because you can't sleep on anybody. And but no, I like the change up when it comes to the 1 seeds.
Headline rewrites.
The Minnesota Vikings have acquired running back Jordan Mason from the San Francisco 49ers in exchange for some draft picks. What's the real headline?
There's good news here. Never again will we see him and Isaac Guerrero combine for 200 rushing yards against the Seahawks.
Man.
Those days are behind us, you guys. In the rear view.
Isaac hit us with like a 60-yard run to seal it, too.
That one hurt.
And he took the knee.
Score.
And he took the knee.
The audacity.
The audacity. Just score, man. What are you doing?
Yeah, just do it.
But I know Jordan Mason is a good running back, and I think the Vikings got themselves a sneaky one. 789, 3 touchdowns last year. A game of 123 against New England, 100 against Minnesota, 147 against the Jets. Ended the season on a low note just because Christian McCaffrey came back. You're going to give him his stats. There's something about backup running backs with the Niners. Jeff Wilson, Mostert at the time, and now you have these two. When they come to Seattle, they just ball out. Backup quarterbacks, backup running backs. I'm tired of seeing it. So good luck over there in Minnesota. I think he's going to be in a good situation, and they got a sleeper.
The other half that we didn't talk about is also what he looks like in an offense that'll have J.J. McCarthy. I mean, the Vikings might have wanted to hang on to Sam Darnold. Probably better for Sam that he moves on and gets a starting contract while he still can and gets a chance to prove himself as a long-term starter as opposed to a stopgap quarterback. But J.J. McCarthy has big shoes to fill, and I don't just say that because of what Sam Darnold did. I say it because of what other rookies from this class have done. He's kind of behind the 8 ball here.
Every rookie that was drafted like in that first round showed us something this year. Showed us something. Even Michael Penix went in there, sprinkled in some big plays. That was the most talented group I've seen in a long time. But you're right. Thing about JJ is he's in a great offense. They're going to run the football. Hopefully he learned from Sam Darnold. He was sitting back taking notes. I'm interested because they're talking about Aaron Rodgers. I say forget it. If you didn't keep Sam Darnold, just roll with the young man JJ McCarthy. Let him do his thing. I'm anticipating
well,
that
and
one.
look, if I was a first-year starting quarterback and you told me, okay, on the positive side, you'll have Justin Jefferson, I'd say, okay.
Yeah, I'll be all right.
Pretty good.
I'll be all right.
Okay.
Headline rewrites.
Rory McIlroy beat J.J. Spawn to win the Players' Championship over the weekend. What's the real headline?
Bump, did the Players' Championship make you forget about Tiger Woods not playing in the Masters?
For an hour.
I appreciate Matt bringing it back.
For an hour, I know. Matthew just knows how to poke at my heart, and
I'm always here for you, Bump.
I would say to push your buttons.
No,
it's not poking at your
It's
heart.
different because it's like poking at my heart and making it hurt a little bit. It's just like,
Yeah.
Take that, Bump.
Yeah.
Take that.
That's a good producer.
But it's all good. No, but I watched the playoff this morning, and that was something I loved waking up to that, man. I'm getting the cardio in this morning on the treadmill, watching Rory do his thing, and there's something that happened on the 17th hole that every golfer can relate to. So they're sitting on the island green. This TPC, one of the most iconic holes in all of golf. And the wind's blowing. They're about 165 yards out, and Rory pulls out a 9-iron. And everyone knows Rory hits his clubs just further than everybody. So he pulls out the 9-iron, gets it within like 15 or 20 yards, or 20 feet. They show JJ looking at Rory pull his club out to see what is he swinging, because you're not allowed to share that information, but if he sees what he's swinging, he's going to make his adjustments. So he pulls out an 8 because he says, look, I don't hit it as far as Rory. Granted, Rory just hit a 3/4 swing because he's nice like that. He hits his 8, it goes in the pond, and now he's staring at it for a long time thinking he hit the green. In that moment, I knew it was a wrap, man, because Rory had this calmness about him, and JJ Guy, who was going to quit golf a year ago, has resurrected his career, but just didn't have that experience. That's now, I believe, 28 PJ wins for Rory. He's off to a great start this year. It's going to be good for him.
If you could only play at one hole in any course in the country, what would it be?
That would be in the running. I believe it is it number 7 at Torrey Pines? It's another par 3. And then the finishing hole at Augusta, number 18.
Yeah, those are my answers, too. I'm just going to go
I knew it. I copied your answers, actually.
I'm going to go the number 4 at Old Ridge.
Old Ridge?
Home.
I'm sure that's a course somewhere.
Old Ridge home.
Old Ridge
course.
home. Yeah.
Of course, you got number 7 at Bailiff. Bailiff Falls. Beautiful
Beautiful Bailiff.
Course.
Hidden gem, that Bailiff. Hidden gem.
Yeah. Not a lot of people know about it. We have a new record-setting contract, and no, it is not Jamar Chase. That's coming up next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Your two most prominent players on offense said, I want out of here.
If you ask the texters, they would say both of them have attitude problems.
You know, we'll see what Geno signs for. If he signs for somewhere in around 40 to 45, what does that say about how he felt about Seattle?
You got to put a lot of faith in John Schneider and Mike McDonald. John said, we're not going to do anything that hurts the team. The team is number one, the player is number two.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Jake was suffering from osteoarthritis when his doctors asked him to consider surgery.
However, there's a 9-month recovery period where essentially you're not walking and you're not putting much in the way of weight on.
That wasn't going to work for him, so he decided to see Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine for stem cell therapy.
I heard the ads, and that caused me to do due diligence.
And how are you doing now?
There's not really any pain now at all. I have no limitations in what I want to do.
Wow, so you're able to do anything you want to do?
I recently played golf at Cycle House down in Pebble Beach, walked 18 holes, which I hadn't been able to do for a number of years, and then went for about a 2-mile walk with my friend.
I take it you'd recommend stem cell therapy to others then?
Absolutely. Had I known then what I know now, I would have done this several years ago and saved myself a lot of pain and suffering and agony and limitation to activity.
Before you choose surgery, consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Mark Wagner, MD, at Seattle Sports and Regenerative Medicine. Schedule your consultation at drmarkwagnermd.com.
The brackets are now open. Compete in the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Reseed your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
Can you take the power of your home internet almost anywhere? Well, with Xfinity, you can. Do more of what you love in the places you go the most with internet and mobile together. Xfinity built a network that's 99.99% reliable. Plus, Xfinity Mobile has Wi-Fi Power Boost, giving you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. Get the same reliable network in the places you need the most. The coffee shop, the grocery store, or the game. All to power more of what you love, whether you're a gamer, streaming, or work from home. Whatever you're into, you'll love how fast you can do it with Xfinity Internet and Mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and one unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year with no annual contract. And save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Plus, ask how to get a free premium 5G phone. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon 5G, Internet plus one unlimited welcome line, and AT&T Internet 300 plus one unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
What's up, everyone? It's me, the Mariners Gatorade Cooler, and I wouldn't trade my view from the dugout for anything. Watching Logan Gilbert mid-shutout, taking a breather right beside me, he is calm, collected, and fully locked in. Keep it coming, Walter.
Swing and a miss. Logan Gilbert, 6 straight strikeouts.
And Victor Robles, running by me with the trident in hand. I'm getting chills just thinking about it. And that's not just because I'm filled with ice.
How about Victor Robles? It landed all the way to the second deck.
And when Cal walks it off, oh, you know what time it is.
A walk-off grand slam for Cal Raleigh.
It's celebration time, and they never see me coming. Mariners baseball, Trident Sun.
Don't miss Mariners opening day next week. Lock in your seats for Thursday, March 27th, and check out all the festivities on the first homestand, including Randy Arozarena Cross-Armed Hoodie Night, Friday, March 28th, and Julio Bat Flip Bobble Giveaway, Monday, March 31st to Wednesday, April 2nd. Get your tickets at mariners.com.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Mike's Western Suppliers and CL Western Apparel remind parents to enroll your kids in a positive youth program. Sports, hobbies, and community activities improve overall health and performance in school. These programs decrease drug use and violence and develop self-discipline and leadership skills. Let's team together this year to help our kids reach their full potential. Best wishes to all our kids from the entire team at Mike's Western Suppliers and CL Western Apparel. Family owned and proudly serving our community for over 30 years.
I'm here with Happy Hauler. We want to help get your unwanted items to those in need. Furniture and household items you plan on throwing away? We'll take them and prioritize donating and recycling, keeping items out of the landfill, and giving useful items a second happy home. Happy Hauler is Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We work with over 20 nonprofits all over Western Washington to donate used items. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. Reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Back into the NFL, taking a look around the rest of the league. We'll start with the Houston Texans. Derek Stingley Jr. has agreed to a 3-year, $90 million extension with Houston, including $89 million guaranteed. He's now the highest paid defensive back in NFL history. It's so interesting to revisit that draft where everyone was wondering, is it going to be Stingley Jr., who was great, high ceiling, couldn't stay healthy? Is it going to be Sauce Gardner? Both have gone on to really great careers with their respective teams. If you had to redraft, would you make the same choice?
Yeah, I think Stingley's had a better career, for sure. The number 3 pick overall, I believe, and something about those LSU dudes, man. They just do it.
That
LSU,
team.
Ohio State, that team was crazy. What, he had 5 interceptions last year, 5 the year before, 1 his rookie season. No, he deserves this. He is recognized as probably the best corner in the game right now. This is what happens. You have to reward your players. And I know some people might frown and say, oh, they're getting paid too much money. The market is set. And if you are one of the best or the best at your job, you should get paid accordingly. Good up for Stingley.
I really like what a listener texted in earlier, and I'm sorry, I lost the text or else I'd give you a shout out. But they said, there isn't a problem with paying elite players elite money. It's paying good players elite money. I was like, oh, that's such a great way to say it. Here was Ian Rappaport on Stingley's extension.
Oh, boy. The bar has been raised. The ceiling has been shattered. There is a new highest paid DB in the NFL, and it is star cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. This is a huge deal. He gets a 3-year, $90 million deal. $90 million, $89 million guaranteed, which basically takes the 2 years, it includes that, and then years after that. So obviously a massive, massive deal for Stingley. This done by David Mulugeta of Athletes First. Man, yeah. New highest paid DB in the NFL. It's a corner. Mulugeta now represents the top 3 highest paid corners, which is just bonkers. But for Stingley Jr., I mean, high pick, battled some injuries, and then really just took the next couple of years and showed everyone why he's one of the best CBs in the NFL, one of the best players in the NFL, regardless of position. All-Pro, Pro Bowler, rock star, gets paid like it. And
Now, I know that what some people are probably thinking is, why do I care about Derek Stingley? I mean, he seems like a nice kid, seems like a good team, good for him, but also you got a corner who could be in line for a big payday coming off of this offseason. Now, this season, I don't think that that Devin Witherspoon could necessarily command that kind of money right now. But, Bump, what kind of year would he have to put together to where next offseason, when he's looking for an extension, he can ask for a big, big, big dollar amount?
Well, he's got to get those PDs up. Passes defended, first year 16, this year 9. If you look at Stingley, he goes 5, 13, and 18. So he got better every single year. Got to get those interceptions up. He has 1 to his name. It was a pick 6. Stingley had 1 his first year, then 5 and 5. There are some things he needs to do. He needs to do. But he's, I think he's just morphing into just a nickel type of guy. So because he's just that nickel type of guy, they're not going to want to pay him huge amounts of dollars. But $30 million, I don't think he touches that. But he can see like 15 of them things if he keeps doing what he's doing.
Next up, the Atlanta Falcons kept quarterback Kirk Cousins on their roster past 4 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, which triggered a guarantee on a $10 million roster bonus due in 2026. That means the 36-year-old will likely stay with Atlanta this season, becoming maybe the most expensive backup ever to Michael Penix Jr. Do you think Michael Penix Jr. is the one starting week 1 for Atlanta? And also, in hindsight, knowing it didn't work out with Cousins and Penix might still be the starter, do you think they made the right choice?
I was just going to say that. I was going to be part of my analysis. Like, look, when it all went down, people were scratching their heads saying, what are you doing? But if you look at it, you had a veteran who you paid a lot of guaranteed money, and now you have this rookie who got to develop under him. And now you flip it. You still got the best of both worlds. You have a rookie with a lot of potential, Michael Penix, and you got Kirk Cousins, a guy who has showed you, I can play.
Yeah.
Might not win a lot of playoff games or be flashy or whatnot, but if something were to happen, I can hold it down a little bit. They had to make this move because what else is out there? Are you going to try to get Aaron Rodgers? No. You're going to try to get a Russell Wilson or some of these other backup QBs who have never shown you that they could handle a team for the duration of a season. It's the right situation for them. I think it was all circumstantial. You get Kirk Cousins and you have Michael Penix available, so you have to pivot and make that move. End of the day, it worked out. You saw Penix late, and you got Kirk Cousins if you need him. I know it's expensive, but it's good.
I kind of see it as like making a really expensive move that at the time seemed like a smart thing, like it was insurance. I have a friend who is in car sales, and she was just giving another one of my friends a hard time for putting down a ton of money on a lease. And my one friend who put down a ton of money was saying, well, it seemed like the smart thing to do. I could lower my payments. I could put more money down. I could do all these things. And my other friend was saying, yeah, but sometimes what seems like the smart thing just makes you waste money.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the Falcons did. Like, in theory, they were my friend who was going, but I want to be super safe, and I want to be absolutely sure I've covered my bases. And the rest of the NFL was my other friend going, but you don't need to.
You don't need to do that.
You don't need to do it. You're going to waste money trying to be safe here, and you're going to probably regret that.
And they probably thought that Penix or somebody wouldn't be available at that spot too, even though they had the 9 pick or something like that.
Yeah.
Was it 9? Yeah, it's it all worked out. But yes, you're right. That's a big down payment on a lease.
Next up, Jameis Winston scheduled to visit with the Giants tomorrow, and I need us all to imagine a world in which Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston are in the same quarterback room. What do you think they talk about?
I think Jameis Winston says whatever he wants to say, and Russell Wilson
Doesn't know what to do.
just shakes his head sometimes and like, all right, big dog, let's focus, man, let's focus.
That's exactly what he's going to say. All right, let's focus. All right, Jameis, back to the topic at hand. Here we go. Back into the playbook. He's just,
But Jameis, forget what we think about him, right? As a football player, his personality, he has earned this right to be the backup of all backups because he's won some games. He's the Gardner Minshew. I made this comparison before. There is a place for guys who aren't good enough to be the leader, but can hold it down for you. And you know he's Ryan Fitz. You know he's not going to compromise you off the field. Now in college that was an issue, but in the NFL so far he's been pretty good.
Free agent wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster is returning to the Chiefs on a one-year deal, this according to ESPN. The 28-year-old played in 14 games for the Chiefs last season, catching 18 passes for 231, 2 touchdowns. He was the leading wide receiver on the Chiefs' 2022 Super Bowl championship team, going for 933 in 2022 bump. I'm certainly not expecting a return to that for Smith-Schuster. What I'm more fascinated by is what the Chiefs' receiver room is going to look like. I mean, you've got Kelsey, who's slowing down. I know he's a tight end, but Kelsey's slowing down. Xavier Worthy, who's getting into some off-field stuff right now that he's got to work through, but otherwise really speedy, kind of came on to start and then towards the end of the season had a little bit of a dip there in the middle. I mean, it's a fascinating room.
It is. You get Rashee Rice back, so that should help. D Hop is gone. He's with the Baltimore Ravens. I assume they're going to draft another rookie receiver. That's one thing that they've done well though, over the past few years is draft these rookie receivers. Now they've gotten into some trouble and they got to fix some things. But no, it should be interesting. You need a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster. He's going to be a nice little number 3 target for you. You know that when he does get the targets, he's okay. 26 targets, 18 receptions last year, 2 touchdowns. You just be solid. And he's not TikToking anymore. You ain't got to worry about that. I think they'll be okay because of Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid, and that O-line that they re-signed a couple of their dogs, and they're going to add some more too.
It is crazy to think about. Like, if I were to say, hey, who are the top 3 quarterbacks in the league right now? I'm guessing a version, and there may be 1 or 2 not included, but I'm guessing you'd say Mahomes, Allen, Lamar.
Yep.
Who's the number 1 guy for these 3 dudes? And I'm going to exclude Kelsey from the conversation as a tight end because he's slowing down and you saw a bit of a dip last year. The number 1 receiver for these 3 guys, I don't know that those guys are household names per se.
No, they're not. And you can get away with it because of the talent you have at your quarterback spot. And these guys also have help elsewhere when we look at the defense and run game, depending on what team you're talking about. Yeah, that's interesting, but that just shows you. That's why Jalen Hurts needs AJ and Devontae because he's just not that guy. So imagine if Josh Allen gets himself just a dog at the number one spot, or any of these guys, it's a wrap.
No, what is crazy is when you have a quarterback that's good like Joe Burrow, and then he does have two of those guys. Unfortunately, this team's still got to figure out what to do with Trey Hendrickson. Per the Athletics, Diana Rossini, the Bengals are working to retain Hendrickson, but how? How, Sway?
How, Sway?
Where will the money come from? I don't know. Do you think they actually are able to hang on to him, or just trying to
There's a way.
entice more moves?
Signing bonuses don't count towards the cap.
Yeah.
So you got to go to your owner and say, look, we need to pay this man a lot up front.
All right, I know there are a lot of lingering questions when it comes to who the Seahawks haven't added. We're going to dive into that coming up at 1, evaluating the Seahawks free agency so far. What happened? Is it good? What have we seen? What's different? And what's left to do? Again, coming your way in 20 minutes. Before we get to it, we're going to look at some teams around the league that definitely need to start a rebuild. Why aren't the Seahawks one of those teams? That's next.
Blue 88 on Brock and Salk.
Who were the final suitors for DK?
Teams that were willing to pay $33 million a year for 4 years on extension, $150 million total. It was really just New England and Pittsburgh.
Every day at 7:45.
Good for him. God bless him. And I absolutely have no issue and no problem with him going and getting even more of that generational wealth. But there were not many teams that were going to load up the Brinks truck.
Blue 88, answering 3 football questions as only Brock Heward can.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home and make price-boosting upgrades with no cost until close. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Did you know colon cancer can be detected early or prevented through regular screening?
I have detected Around Earth is the greatest lie ever.
Okay, Roger. My uncle just passed away and I inherited his cockatoo, Roger. He was a member of the Flat Earth Society, so Roger picked up on some of his rhetoric. Anyway, screening, such as a colonoscopy.
Screen these! Screen these!
Roger that, Roger. Moving on. Colonoscopies can detect early-stage colon or rectal cancer or even polyps, which are abnormal growths that can turn into cancer over time.
I'm a Flat Earth walker.
Come on, Roger. What did I do to my uncle to deserve you? You don't get to choose what you inherit, just like colon cancer. Unlike Roger here, I believe in science. And science says that if colon cancer runs in your family, you're more likely to develop it yourself. Talk to your doctor about when you should start screening. Find out more at coloncancercoalition.org. A message from the Colon Cancer Coalition.
Meanwhile, at Xfinity. So, influencer life going well?
Oh, yeah. I'm up to 32 followers.
Oh, that's something.
Yeah, posting my tap dancing videos is easier than ever because we engineered Xfinity Internet with 99.99% network reliability.
Plus, Xfinity Mobile with Wi-Fi Power Boost gives you ultra-fast Wi-Fi at home and on the go. But wait, tap dancing? You don't tap dance.
Hey, what I lack in skill, I make up with passion.
Do more of what you love and love how fast you do it with Xfinity Internet and mobile. And now through April 21st, get 300 megabit Xfinity Internet and 1 unlimited mobile line together for $25 a month for 1 year and save $1,000 in your first year over Verizon and AT&T. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Savings compared to Verizon 5G Internet plus 1 unlimited welcome line and AT&T Internet 300 plus 1 unlimited starter SL line. Xfinity Internet required. Actual speeds vary. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual savings vary.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
Did you know that most people wait 6 or 7 years before they buy a new TV? That's a lot of time in front of one TV. So why not get one of the best sets for the next 7 years, like one of the top-rated Samsung, LG, or Sony models? Too expensive? What if you could get up to $1,000 trade-in for your old set? Who would do a stupid deal like this? Right now, at Video Only, you can get big bucks for your old set as a trade-in and a hot price on the new models. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only.
I'm Sia, and I support Humane World for Animals, formerly called the Humane Society of the United States. Together, we have created a new version of Peter Gabriel's beautiful song, Salisbury Hill, to celebrate Humane World for Animals and everything they do. Enjoy the song and join us in helping Humane World for Animals end animal cruelty.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep, $149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. $149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
The brackets are now open. Compete in the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Opening day is almost here. We're sending one of you and a friend to experience it like never before. Imagine getting front row access to opening ceremonies, player intros, the first pitch, and so much more, all from the field. To enter, all you need to do is go to the Seattle Sports app, click the Win tab to find out how. If you don't have the app, you need to download it immediately. But you can also text the word app, APP, to 866-979-3776, and we will send you a link to download. Enter daily to increase your chances to win. The contest runs through Friday, March 21st. That is this Friday, which blows my mind.
Can you believe it's already March 21st? It's coming up.
Not. It's coming up. What I can't believe is we are now just, 10 days? 9 days away from opening day. 10 days away from opening day. Holy cow, how'd we get here? We are going to talk about... Wow, is my Irish coming out just now. We're going to dive back into a Seahawks conversation, but with a little bit of a twist. Keep things fun, interesting, hypotheticals this offseason. During 4 Down Territory, you talked about a bunch of teams that just need to give it up and start a rebuild, and we'll go over a few of them. But we're also going to talk about why one of those teams are not the Seahawks. I did have some people texting into the Mac and Jacks text line going, is Seattle in a rebuild? Should they have just... traded a couple more pieces, kept this thing going, started over, get money off the books. So we're also going to talk about why we don't think it's the right move, or certainly we don't think it's what Seattle's doing. So maybe I'll start with that question. Bump. Feel free to use the teams that are in rebuild mode as some comparison tools here, but why aren't the Seahawks one of those teams?
There's too much talent. There's too much talent, especially on the defensive side of the football. You look at a team like the Cleveland Browns. What do they have over there?
Miles.
They have Myles Garrett. I'm going to pull up their depth chart. I'm sure there's a name or two that.
I think there's an Arby's nearby.
They got Ethan Posick. He's over there. What up, Ethan? There aren't enough solid building blocks, right? Because when you are the Seahawks, you look at the talent. Even if you just pick one guy per position, you can look at that position and that guy and say, all right, we can build around him. Offensive line, I know it's the worst part of the offense at this point, right? But you're looking at your tackles and you're saying to yourself, yeah, we can build around those dudes. Yeah. You look in the backfield, K9, Charbonnet, McIntosh. Yeah, we can do that. Receiver, you got JSN and now Cooper Kupp. Yeah, we can build around those guys. And let's not forget MVS. And defensively, you do the same thing. You look at defensive line, there's a couple guys, linebacker, and then the secondary. They're not desperate at any position other than maybe the offensive line position, but it sounds like the organization believes that there is talent there with the right scheme to where you'll be able to elevate some of these young guys. So, no, that's why they're not in a rebuild, man. You look at the Cleveland Browns. You look at what the Niners are doing right now, getting rid of everybody. I mean, Debo gone. Hufunga's gone. Greenlaw's gone.
I forgot to read that with another headline.
Juszczyk is back. They're dropping weight because they know they have to pay Brock Purdy. I think they're going to be okay because Brandon Ayuk is a good receiver. Juwan Jennings is better than what anyone gives him credit for. And Ricky Pearsall seems like he's going to be the guy. But once you start dropping names that, if you are familiar with the team, is a household name for you, then you're thinking, all right, what's going on over there? And then you got to look at the cap situation as well. That's why they're dropping guys. You got to pay your quarterback. You look at the Seattle Seahawks and their cap situation. They don't have to drop guys like that. You already done that, right? You dropped your quarterback, but then you picked up the best available option. You drop your wideout, but you pick up the best available option for a veteran. So it feels different because you felt like what they lost isn't going to hinder them from still taking steps forward. I look at the Niners and I feel like that defense has so much work to do. I don't look at the defense right now the way I look at the Seahawks offense because they dropped their guys, right? And you're thinking, okay, if you don't make these moves, if you don't get a quarterback and get a receiver, then maybe you have so much work to do. But no, they've already been building. They've been building since they hired Kubiak. So it's a different feel. And it all has to work out. You still got to execute, right? Nothing is guaranteed. But I think everyone listening right now can look at the Niners and look at the Seahawks and feel like we're in a better position. I
am going to use a really horrible analogy, but I'm going to make it fast so you won't have to sit through it for long. But I am a perfectionist in a lot of ways. And in some ways that can be very just hindering, and it can be a hindrance to things I'm trying to do. And one way I'm a perfectionist that is not the worst thing on the world, but can be time consuming, is I'm big on like perfect handwriting, not making mistakes. And so if I have like a planner or a notebook where I mess something up, or I'll rip out the whole page and I'll rewrite what I've had. I'm not kidding. Like it's like a crazy level of perfectionism. I think that same approach of like, well, I want this to be perfect and I want it to be all together and whatever, it's kind of how some people will approach building NFL teams. Like it's like, we're constructing it from scratch, and if you mess up, it's like, well, just forget this. Let me start everything else from scratch so that all my players are young and everyone can be on rookie deals and I can get the identity meshing together. In practice, that can be a huge waste of time. And you can miss out on all those good notes you've taken and all that great work that you put in. And you need to maybe learn that you'll make a mistake and you just need to, cross through the word and keep it moving. And the reason I say that with the Seahawks is it can be easy to look at the Seahawks and go, God, if I'm starting from scratch in some ways with the offense, and now I got to figure out if this quarterback's a fit, and I got to make sure people are on the same time frame with their contracts, why not just tear the whole thing down? Because when I think of the best version of the Seahawks, I'm thinking of 2013 where they had so many young guys. They were like the second or third youngest team to win a Super Bowl. So many dudes on rookie contracts. And you felt like it could be a dynasty because they were all going to be there and you knew who you were and the offense complemented the defense and vice versa. It's okay to not be that. It's okay to look at a lot of what you have that works, including on offense, and go, how do I fill the gaps? Do I need to tear this down to fill the gaps? You don't. You might have some pieces on that offensive line that do work. And maybe you get in a new offensive line coach, a new offensive coordinator, a new scheme, and suddenly Christian Haynes makes a little more sense. Or suddenly, you pointed to him, suddenly Oluwatimi makes a little more sense and takes a step forward. You don't need to rip out the page. You don't need to tear it down just to make sure that things can complement each other. You can find ways to do that by just adding the right pieces.
You might have already ripped out a page, honestly.
The Gino and DK page.
You might have ripped out a page.
You ripped out $60 million.
But it's not like you had a page full of notes and you ripped it out. There were some bullet points in there, but you ripped them out. And I think it's all about talent. What remains? What is here? And when I look at this defense, no joke, I think they can potentially be a top 10, maybe even a top 5 defense with what I saw from last year and with the development of some other pieces. It's all about how competitive do you think your team is going to be. The teams that are in rebuilds are the teams that we look at, and we look at their matchups and who they could be playing, and we feel like they're not going to be competitive.
Right. Tough division, for instance, the Raiders.
Tough division. You're playing this team on the road. You're playing this team home. It's just how competitive are you going to be from where you are today? The Niners, I don't see them being that competitive. I think that, here's the thing, the Niners can be competitive if their offense just goes nuts at this point. And you and I know, most people listen know that you cannot rely on your offense just to go crazy every single game because you're going to get in shootouts, you're going to lose ball games. You got to be balanced. So it's about competitiveness. And right now, the Hawks look competitive. Sam still got a ball. Jason taking that step. Kupp has to do his thing. I get it. But even if we get bare minimum from those guys, we still feel like they're going to be in the fight.
We're going to stay in this vein. We're going to look back at what the Seahawks have done in free agency so far, talk about what some of those building blocks have been, the moves we liked. We both feel that there's a very different approach Seattle is taking this offseason. And, of course, we will be talking about the concerning thing we're not seeing. That's next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Brock and Salk. Weekdays 6 to 10.
By the age of 26, Sam Darnold had started 55 games before Matt Hasselbeck started one. At age 28, Matt starts to have some success. Sam Darnold had the breakout at the age of 27. If you want to believe that this is the right move, and I want to believe that, you have to believe that last year was not an outlier, that it was the beginning of the real thing.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Hey friends, Stacy Rost here. Who has some of the best deals on new Fords and Isuzus in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who has a large selection of the highest quality used vehicles in the Pacific Northwest? That would also be Wayscar Ford in Auburn. And what dealership promises no games, no gimmicks, and never any pressure to purchase? Yes, that is correct. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn still. Who's the only Ford dealer in all of Washington to offer a 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back return policy? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They offer free lifetime powertrain warranty on virtually all of their new Fords. Who's the only dealer that will purchase your used car, pay you right up front, and then once they resell your old car, return 50% of the profit to you? Only Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They've given over $750,000 back to customers who have sold them their cars. And finally, what dealership has been family-owned and operated in Auburn for over 103 years? You guessed it. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Visit them at wayscarford.com.
Music that moves your soul. Live at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, April 24th. Get tickets before they sell out at muckleshootcasino.com.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Superior Linen Service. 98 years providing logoed apparel, uniforms, floor mats, linens, and more. Give us a call. We answer the phone. Superior Linen Service. Visit suplinen.com.
Hi, Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors. For over 55 years, you've trusted us for roofing, siding, windows, decking, and gutters. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to schedule a free estimate. State Roofing and Exteriors.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. And that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Things are just better when you switch to Cricket. The sun shines a little brighter. Happy music starts randomly playing. Best of all, you can get iPhone 13 for just $29.99. With the ultra-bright Super Retina display and up to 19 hours of video playback, all on Cricket's super-fast 5G network. See? Isn't that better? Smile, you're on Cricket.
Requires new account and port in on $60 plan. First service charge, tax to its sale. $25 activation fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. See store for details.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
NCAA tourney games at Climate Pledge Arena beginning Friday. Number 5, Oregon against number 12, Liberty. Number 4, Arizona against number 13, Akron. Number 5, Memphis against number 12, Colorado State. And number 4, Maryland against number 13, Grand Canyon. All Friday, all at Climate Pledge.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Evaluating Seahawks free agency so far. What's happened? What feels different? Is it good? And what's there left to do? I know it's the final question, but I'm actually going to start with the last one here. Bump, this was in part inspired by a conversation I heard between Brock and Salk this morning. Salk is not happy with the lack of moves up front on the offensive line. We did hear an explanation for maybe what the Seahawks were planning, what we haven't seen from Brady Henderson, but I'm going to start with Brock and Salk here.
Because, as you said, it has been a fatal flaw for a number of years. Is that, and this feels very much like a Mariners young hitting conversation and hitters conversation. It really does. Now, the Mariners obviously have a very difficult ballpark, and the park factors speak to that, so it's not apples to apples. They're different. But it ultimately does come down to the same thing. Is this struggle because of the physical personnel you've had, or is this the struggle because of your development? Is this more on your front office and your coaches, or is this more on
easy answer to
the
that
personnel
question?
and the players?
Easiest question you've asked me in forever.
Wow.
The easy answer to that question is yes. It is on both of those things. There is no reason to have anybody saved from blame. No, there's no need. They've not been good at either of those things. They haven't been good at drafting and signing people, and they haven't been good at developing them.
Brock saying you got to figure out whether your offensive line problem is a personnel problem or if it's a front office problem. Salk, a little tongue-in-cheek, but also very serious, says, yeah, it's both. They continue to talk about whether it's a good thing to just throw developmental resources, maybe draft picks at the offensive line. Salk's still not happy.
What you've done is not good enough. So we need to do something different. And what we're doing different is we are throwing more developmental resources and personnel at this offensive line than's ever been done in the history of this franchise.
Idea. I totally agree with that. It's a great idea. And it should absolutely come with resources being spent on the roster at the same position. None of those things prevent you from acquiring better talent. None of them. They're all great ideas. Why wouldn't you do both of those things?
Bump, I didn't want to waste any time getting to what people really want to talk about here. When we're talking about the Seahawks moves or lack thereof in free agency, the number one thing that we're going to talk about, the number one thing we're going to see from listeners is where's the offensive line help? Where are they? Where are the big guys?
All right, let's focus on the development part to start. All right, so there have been, let's go like the last 4 seasons, right? 4 drafts. There have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 7 or 8 offensive linemen drafted in the last 3 or 4 seasons. How many of those do you expect to hit?
As starters?
As starters.
2.
2 to hit. You got 3 out of those 7, 8, or 9. I'm just rounding them out because I don't want to count on radio for everybody, right? So you got about 2 or 3 that hit, and those 2 or 3 are going to go Damian Lewis, who hit. Wasn't all-pro guy, but he hit.
Not here anymore.
Right? You go Abe Lucas and Charles Cross. Those have hit. If we put it that way, I think the numbers are fine. Where I get a bit concerned is the development of guys. We're waiting on Christian Haynes. He was their number 2 pick in the 3rd round last year. Didn't see much of him. We saw more of Satalo Mea and Michael Jarrell at some point. Then you go down to got Abe Lucas, Charles Cross. You go down to Stone Forsythe, who is with a different team now. Serviceable, but wasn't really a guy that you can count on. There's been a problem with evaluation in the draft as far as hitting at a higher clip, which I think 2 to 3 and like 3 to 4 years is just fine. It's the development. It's can this guy take the next step? There's someone who texts in all the time, and he's talking about, I forgot who it was, but they always say, well, Charles Cross isn't a Pro Bowler, so he hasn't been developed. I think Charles Cross is a heck of a player, and he'll be just fine. Abe Lucas, heck of a player, he'll be just fine. They can get better as far as evaluating and hitting in the draft. Where they struggle the most is the development of these guys. Like Christian Haynes has to take a step forward. The fact that we saw a 6th round, and this is no disrespect to Satalo Mea, no disrespect, but the fact that we saw him more than Christian Haynes, it could be concerning because your eval told you that Christian Haynes was going to be the guy. I hosted a pre or a
like a draft party?
Not a draft party. It was after the draft. Like welcome to the team party, a rookie type deal. And
it's called a symposium.
Thank you. And the hype around Christian Haynes was big. We expected it. My notes were telling me that he's going to be the next guy. I'm talking to the coaches or whatnot, and it just didn't work out. Doesn't mean it's not going to work out, but last year it just didn't work out. So the fact that we saw Satalo Mea more than Christian Haynes is an evaluation problem. Here's where you can get it right. Now it's a development problem. We saw the group that was here last year with Ryan Grubb and his guy he brought over from UW, his O-line coach, and it didn't seem like guys were getting better. It just didn't seem like they were getting better. So now you've invested into the development part. There's an opportunity for these guys to get better. If you hit on one offensive lineman this year, Christian Haynes looks a lot better, then we might feel a bit different about the whole situation. But your track record past 4 years, 3 years is like, look, the process is wrong. These guys aren't coming here getting better, are not good enough to play for you here. And when it's time for them to get re-upped, you don't re-up them. They go somewhere else. And then some guys have decent careers. Ethan Posick is having a decent career after leaving. I think Sweezy had a decent career after leaving. I'm not sure what Damian Lewis is like. So to agree with Salk, yes, everything. But to break it down, I think, the way that I just did as far as the amount of linemen that they pick and the amount that have hit, I think that's an okay batting average.
Sure.
I think it's okay because you're not going to hit on most of the guys that you draft.
I think it's an okay batting average, but when I'm going to continue the Mariners analogy. Brock used one for his, and I'll use it for this. Some of what the Mariners do in a vacuum is fine. When you consider the Mariners are the only team in baseball to never make it to a World Series, you become more critical. That's how I feel about the Seahawks offensive line. Some of what they do in theory is fine. I am okay with them not paying Will Fries because he wouldn't do a physical and they felt a little uncomfortable.
I'm okay. I still wanted it, though.
Exactly. I'm okay with that. I still wanted it. But it becomes easier and fair to be more critical when you consider that the Seahawks have never had a great offensive line under John and Pete. I know now it's just John, but the best version of the offensive line they've ever had was in their Super Bowl winning season. Not a coincidence. It was also when they invested the most resources. And the best run game they've had since then was probably in 2018, when and they really, really invested in getting some big guys up front. That might have been Mike Upati, certainly DJ Fluker. Obviously, Chris Carson has a 1,000-plus yard season, and they are running the rock a ton. Like, they have a ton of attempts that year. So it was a very concentrated effort, and it was not one that you could maintain. Last year, they were one of the worst run games in football. Once again, one of the worst offensive lines. I care less about a specific process, a specific name, because we know that that doesn't always work for other teams. Houston has a ton of money, a ton of draft capital invested in their offensive line. They were just fine in 2023 and then took a massive step backwards in 2024, still with a lot of investment, still with one of the highest paid groups. I don't even know what happened there because it's not my job to cover Houston, but something clearly happened. Maybe it's coaching. Maybe it's a regression, for other parts of your offense. Maybe it's an offensive coordinator issue. Maybe it's, your skill position players getting hurt. Who knows? Likewise, everyone last year expected the Washington Commanders to be one of the worst offensive lines in football. They did not have a ton invested. They ended up being pretty solid. Is that Jaden Daniels having a mobile quarterback? Is it a new offensive line coach, a new, coach? Who knows what's going on there? But there's no surefire way to ensure you can get a great offensive line. All I know is the Seahawks haven't. And to me,
there is.
The result is really what matters.
There
there.
is.
Going, well, how?
You go and pay for them.
Go and pay for him? Well, what about Houston
that's
then?
How you
Houston
go,
would be a bad
you
example.
You go and pay
of
for
that.
them. Right now, if you were to get, now it's not realistic.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying, I'm saying, go pay for him, but that's not realistic.
Sure.
I'm saying, go ahead and get Becton. Go ahead and get Will Fries and spend.
Be aggressive.
Yeah. I mean, and no team's going to do that because you got to pay other positions, especially when you're dropping $40 million on receivers these days and $50 on quarterbacks. Yes, I agree. There's no fine way to do it or no for sure way to do it, but this is what they have working for them. This is why I'm going in a bit more optimistic is because you can do everything this year. And the reason why I say you can do everything this year is because you can draft, you can sign a veteran, and you can develop with new teachers. Like you have everything, every kind of change that you could make to help who's already here and to help the evaluation. You're starting from scratch, essentially, because of the offensive coordinator and the guys that they're bringing in. So this should be the biggest jump that we've seen. If there isn't a big jump as far as the guys they bring in, the guys who are developing, then you can go back right into the same sentiment and be like, look, this is just what they do. But they can essentially do everything this year. They're not minus get the big name because we know that's just not what they do. Becton is gone. I think Will Hernandez is still out there, and my guy Reisner from the Vikings is still out there as well. You can still get veterans. So, there's no one way to do it, but the fact that there are going to be different voices and different eyes and stuff allows me to be a bit more patient when it comes to seeing how the first few weeks of the season go with the old guys who are already here.
206, could our O-line trouble come from how long our quarterbacks have held on to the ball? A lot of our players took too long to develop. Quick releases could help us.
I hate that. I
am so glad that was your reaction.
I hate that. Take too long to develop. Receivers don't call the dang plays. They don't say, I'm going to run this combination with that combination. Like, when you say it takes too long to develop, you look at the coordinator. The coordinator is calling the plays that the receivers have to run. The receivers aren't saying, I'm going to run this post at 10 yards and take it back to the corner. It's a play that's designed that way. And the quarterbacks have to hold on to the football because it's a longer developing play, not the receivers who are taking long to develop. If a receiver couldn't get open in time, he would not be in the NFL. He would not be getting those snaps. So, though I appreciate you interacting with the show, that's one take that gets them under. The receivers are taking too long to develop.
Or like quarterbacks are hanging on for too long.
Yeah, I'm like, sometimes it happens. The quarterback hangs on to the football for too long, but sometimes the safety's in the way, the linebacker's there. There are times where quarterbacks do hold on to the ball, but when I hear that comment, it kind of just blankets everything, and it makes it seem, it puts more of the onus, too much of the onus on the player when I feel like it's the concept that is forcing the receivers to not get open early.
I actually think it is very telling that you've had multiple offensive coordinators and multiple quarterbacks and have had a consistent problem with your offensive line. Like, I think that when you start to shuffle other pieces and other factors around and still see the same problem, you've kind of eliminated whether those are massive contributors or whether you have a drafting development problem, which I think they do with the offensive line. I think they have a drafting problem, a development problem, and I think that they have not overly spent in free agency. Now, That doesn't mean that they were not willing to change that this offseason. I feel like even though it didn't happen, I still want to be able to point it out. Brady Henderson on with us.
It feels different, yeah, and it's not just the moves they have made, but the one big move they were also willing to make. And look, in being, signing Will Fries to a big deal. Now, the Geno and the DK trades, those weren't necessarily part of their plan A, I wouldn't say. They obviously were prepared, and they knew that the Smith negotiations might not go well and that they would have to pivot, but they obviously, their first plan was to try to extend him. I don't think they had planned on trading DK Metcalf until it became apparent, so apparent that he wanted out, that became the best move for them. But yeah, going back to Will Fries, I'd say their plan was different in the sense that they were prepared to spend a whole lot of money on that guy. I would say maybe not the overall length of the deal and whatever the guarantee package is, but I think in terms of a per year average, I believe they were roughly willing to go as high as Minnesota did. Obviously, in the end, I think they got scared off by just the medical situation. But yeah, that would have been a huge departure for them, for a team that really, as you said, has really, mostly stayed out of the first wave of free agency.
Bump, you said one thing the Seahawks have not done, at least a lot of in your experience, and you're right, has been not throwing money at an offensive lineman in free agency. Maybe not making a massive trade for an offensive lineman to acquire that help. Brady Henderson saying they were willing to do that with Will Fries. They didn't want to do it because he didn't want to do a physical. A, was that the right move then for the Seahawks to not spend that money? And B, is it then the right move to not continue to throw money at someone they don't think is as good?
I think they did the right thing, but I feel like because you're in a position to capitalize on what you have going on your defense and to make sure that your offensive coordinator is equipped with the personnel to do what he wants to do, that sometimes you just do it.
So you'd want to overpay, like just take the risk,
do
take
it,
the chance.
do it once.
Yeah.
Do it once, and that's not something that we see often with this group, and it's something that they just don't do. So I respect it because they're being true to themselves. They're not stepping out of what they like to do, but we also know that them not stepping out has gotten you 9-10 wins, first round elimination, and your quarterback looking like he has no time to execute the plays that he wants to execute. Oh, I don't blame them for not doing it because it's a safe thing to do. And if you know anything about me, like I don't gamble. I went to Vegas for 4 days and did not gamble one time. So I get it. I don't gamble. So I understand where they're coming from with that. But every now and then, Stacy, I pull out $1,000 and I say, you know what? Tonight's my night. I'm just going to trick all this off tonight.
You know what's interesting, though? John Schneider has gambled. Now, I don't know if he quite literally gambles, but John Schneider traded 2 first-round picks for a safety that was at odds with his team. John Schneider traded an offensive lineman and another first-round pick for a tight end that he thought could fix some red zone problem. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what's so wild about it is John Schneider, for any critique you have of him, General you, has been aggressive. He has made aggressive moves in free agency via trades to try to make his team a Super Bowl contender. He's not done it when acquiring offensive linemen.
I think it comes down to obviously what he believes in, and then who do you confide in? Who's your consultant? Like, why have you, John, why have you developed this way of thinking to where you'll pay Draymond Jones and make him the highest paid player on your defense. You'll do the things that you just talked about with the tight end and Jamal. But when it comes down to the offensive linemen, who are the most important piece other than your quarterback on an offense, if you want it to function in the pass and the run, they're the catalyst. You haven't been able to do that. Someone taught him this way of thinking, and he has maybe data or video or whatever that instills this mindset in him. Who's going to be the one to challenge him and be like, all right, man, maybe we should do something different? But when it's all said and done, that's already over with. Like, it's over with. We're not going to see him for this year. It's over. We're not going to see that. So maybe you swing and miss, but at this point, you have to go get a vet and support your offense the correct way.
Yeah. Brady Henderson, I'm going to continue with this cut, saying what he thinks the Seahawks were going to do and also what they might do now.
They were either going to sign Will Fries or they were going to turn their focus to the draft and really focus on the young players like Christian Haynes, who, despite how his rookie season went and despite what a lot of people think of him, they have more confidence in him than you might imagine, feeling like, he's a better fit. Like, the zone blocking scheme will be a better fit for his skill set than what they were asking him to do last season.
Okay, Brady saying the Seahawks were either going to sign Will Fries and give him that money he wanted or turn their focus to the draft and some young players they already have. Well, we know what they have to do. Will Fries is off the market. Will Fries is with the Vikings. He's going to be protecting J.J. McCarthy this year. He will not be in Seattle. Then, if Brady's reporting is right, which I'm sure it is, he's very well sourced and knows a ton about this team, the Seahawks aren't going to be making aggressive moves in the offensive line. How do you feel about that?
I feel like they're banking on their coaches coming in and having a bigger impact than I think people think they can have. Because I can only make a receiver so good. I can only take them so far. You got to have that God-given ability and something in your mind that just makes you a dog and go ahead and get the football. They must have evaluated this offensive line and reassured John Schneider that there's enough here for us to be okay this year. You know what? Haynes is going to be okay. Laumea is going to be all right. You just go get a veteran just in case. Doesn't have to be anything crazy, and we'll hit in the draft. But let us mold. That's what we like to do. And I can respect that because that's what coaches are supposed to be. You're supposed to be true teachers. You're supposed to mold. You're supposed to help develop. I know once you get into the NFL, a lot of people think that you're supposed to be a finished product or close to it. You are not. Unless you are one of the 0.5%ers that are Hall of Famers as soon as they step on the field. Sure. It just doesn't work that way. So I'm hoping that's the angle to this whole thing, is that they said enough to John Schneider and saw enough in this group to where they felt like they can do something with it. Let me remind you, I've said this before. I watched the film of the Saints and the Seahawks offensive line, and I don't understand why they thought the Saints offensive line was so much better than the Seahawks offensive line. And if I'm seeing that with my eyes and I'm giving that perspective, how does it look like to them? Because you have addressed the line. You have swung and missed at the offensive line for the last 2 or 3 years, or at least a perceived miss because guys haven't been able to grow. Maybe that's what they're thinking, and I hope they're a heck of a teachers. And also one more thing, Mike McDonald said he will hire a guy who is a better teacher than who knows the X's and O's. He says if I can put him under, say, a Kubiak or an offensive line guy and bring that guy some assistance and have the offensive line guy teach that assistant, and that guy's a good teacher, we'll be good to go. So hopefully he hires some teachers.
Back to the Mac and Jacks text line, says the 253. It does seem like the OC and quarterback aren't putting the OL in a position to succeed. Asking the offensive line to path protect for more than 2 to 3 seconds is asking a lot. It does seem like the OC is asking them to do that a lot. I know it's not all on the OC, as the defense does affect it as well, but the OC needs to have a dump off after 3 seconds. And if that doesn't happen, then that's on the quarterback, not the line.
Football's so complicated. I mean, like in some situations, I bet you that is what's going down. You can say, you know what, quarterback didn't get rid of the football, he didn't dump it off. Offensive line can't block for days. You can also say, you know what, play call was bad. They brought pressure. There wasn't enough to block and protect the quarterback. You can also say, you know what, just the play call for that situation didn't work. The defense won. Like there are so many situations to support any type of argument. I'm not going to go against that and say that's completely false, but I will say that that's not the majority of the problem. To me, what I saw, it was the play calling and the talent. And not that Grubb was calling horrible plays. It's just that he was calling plays that took a while to develop. And with that being said, when you're watching the TV version of the game, you don't see the safeties. You don't see the backers dropping. There's a lot that you don't see, so it can't be perceived that Geno was holding the ball. I can also say Geno held the ball too long sometimes. Sure. Like that's why analysis is it's all about perspective. And if that's what you saw, that's what you saw. I'm not going to take that from you, but I will remind you that it's never one thing in this game.
Spending a ton on the O-line isn't worth it, says another listener, because it does take away from other spots too much. It's why most teams don't spend that much on guards. I think if I look at a team that has a great offensive line and I go, what did they do well? I look at a team like the Eagles, draft and develop. The Lions, draft, develop, and draft with high picks. I think most of their offensive linemen are first-round picks, even if they're not originally their own. I think sometimes teams just get lucky. I mean, how many analysts have we had come on that say, yeah, there's like 4 teams with great offensive lines?
Yeah, a lot. Who do you think? All right, let's the most expensive offensive lines in the game right now.
Am I guessing?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to say in no particular order, the Eagles, Texans, Chiefs.
Dang.
Was that right?
No.
Oh.
I thought the Eagles would be up there too. They're top 10.
too.
They're top
Okay,
10.
Top spending for offensive line. Okay, are the Chiefs one of them?
Chiefs are number 2.
Chiefs are number 2, and number 1 is not the Texans.
Nah.
Okay, number 1 on offensive line spending. Is it the Buccaneers?
Nope.
Okay, number 1 offensive line spending. It's not the Lions.
Lions are 7.
Lions are 7.
Houston's 5.
Offensive lines. I mean,
I'll
Trent
read you
Williams
the
was a big
top
deal.
10,
Okay.
and you say yes when you hear a playoff team.
Okay.
Rams 1.
Yes.
Chiefs 2.
Yes.
Atlanta 3.
Barely.
Carolina 4.
No.
Houston 5.
No.
Colts 6.
No.
Lions 7.
Yes.
Eagles 8.
Yes.
Broncos 9.
Yeah.
Cleveland
yes.
10. It's about 50-50 when
Yeah,
it comes to
it's-
spending. So that means that
One
you
of the
can
playoff teams that are in bad divisions are just there because it's a bad
yeah.
division.
So you can spend, but you gotta draft and develop, just like you said.
Man, I love this conversation. We have to end it though. We have to move on. Let's see what's on tonight.
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
Listen to the Mariners spring training game against the A's tonight at 7 p.m. on Seattle Sports. We're going to take a listen to the latest on DeMarcus Lawrence. And then coming up at 1:45, it's What I Need to Know. Get your questions in now, 866-979-3776.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Your 2 most prominent players on offense said, I want out of here.
If you ask the texters, they would say both of them have attitude problems.
You know, we'll see what Geno signs for. If he signs for somewhere in around 40 to 45, what does that say about how he felt about Seattle?
You got to put a lot of faith in John Schneider and Mike McDonald. John said, we're not going to do anything that hurts the team. The team is number 1, the player is number 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
If you've ever wondered if there's something after death, Tyler Henry proves the answer is yes. Be part of his live audience readings and his jaw-dropping ability to connect with the departed at Muckleshoot Event Center, Thursday, July 10th and Friday, July 11th at 8 p.m. Experience this evening of hope and healing, bringing peace and closure to loved ones. Tyler Henry proves our loved ones never leave us. Get tickets at muckleshootcasino.com.
Muckleshoot.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Hey guys, did you know that half of men over age 50 have erectile dysfunction on some level? Whether you have mild, moderate, or severe ED, West Coast Men's Health can help. We don't prescribe pills and hope they work. Instead, we treat the root cause of the problem with acoustic wave therapy, which breaks down plaque, unclogs arteries, and restores blood flow. We have treated thousands of men across our 11 locations nationwide and have established ourselves as a leader in the industry. So whether you have ED, Peyronie's disease, or suffer from chronic pain, such as neuropathy, carpal tunnel, or Dupuytren's contracture, West Coast Men's Health can help. No pills, no shots, no surgery, just results.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call West Coast Men's Health at 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
The John Schneider Show.
Every Thursday until draft day on Wyman and Bob.
Listen live Thursdays at 4 p.m. or watch the interviews on the Seattle Sports YouTube page.
Over the past decade, Washington state politicians have doubled state spending with no improvements to the issues we care about. Instead, we now have the third highest cost of living in the nation and a $12 billion deficit. It's time to tell legislators we need better results, not bigger taxes. Act now at affordablewashington.org. Paid for by people for an affordable Washington and Olympia, Washington. Top 5 donors are Washington Alliance for Competitive Economy, Microsoft, Madrona, T-Mobile, and Alaska Air.
It's the World Fighting Championships at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center. Saturday night, May 10th. Experience the thrill of live MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, and kickboxing. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss this exciting mixed martial arts event. The World Fighting Championships, May 10th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
You think your home is pretty cool until that summer heat hits, and suddenly your home isn't that cool. In fact, it's hot. Air conditioning from Washington Energy Services can help. Stay cool this summer with our biggest spring savings event ever. This month only, take up to $4,000 off an energy-efficient brine cooling system with exclusive Washington Energy rebates. Ensure your home is always the cool house with air conditioning from Washington Energy Services. Contact us today for a free estimate.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Cowboys broadcaster Babe Laufenberg talked about DeMarcus Lawrence. He joined Wyman and Bob to discuss the Seahawks signing. And I think DeMarcus Lawrence, and I would add in Cooper Kupp, kind of a shift in approach to free agency for the Seattle Seahawks. Not typically an aggressive team, not typically a team that signs big names, but that changed this offseason. And I have not heard nearly enough about DeMarcus Lawrence. We've kind of been focusing on the offensive line, been focusing on the offense, the departures of your quarterback and one of your top receivers. So let's talk defense. Babe, outlining the strengths of DeMarcus's game.
Yeah, well, they're getting a great run defender, and I know people don't like to hear that when you got a defensive end. Obviously, they get paid to sack the quarterback, and that's what you look at in the stats. But, I mean, he's a guy that's going to do the dirty work. And, again, he's probably – I mean, I'm not going to go back to Reggie White or anything, but he's as good a run defender as a defensive end as there is in the NFL today, I think. And, again, when a guy's willing to do that dirty work, you know, everybody loves to rush the passers. You know, that's how you get paid, and they kind of take off. You know, I'll come out here and I'll kind of play the run because I have to, but they want to go get the quarterback, and he brings both elements there. And he's still, you know, obviously he missed all but 4 games last year, but he's still 11 years into it, very productive player. I don't want to say he hasn't lost a step, but, you know, they're getting an excellent player.
Let me tell you what, babe. I watched a horrible Giants team put up over 100 on the ground against the Seahawks. I watched 2 players I hadn't known 6 months prior for the 49ers combine for over 200 on the ground against the Seahawks. I watched a bad Patriots team in week 2 in a Seahawks win rush for 180 yards against the Seahawks. I am actually very happy hearing that DeMarcus Lawrence is great against the run.
Yeah, me too. I'm happy hearing it. I'm happy seeing it as well. And I know people are going to be cautious. Only played 4 games last year. Sure, I get it. All right, look at the film. He had the same injury. What's it called? Liz Frank. Yeah.
Call it Lisa Frank.
Lisa Frank.
Lisa Frank injury.
Wyman had the same injury. I was talking to him about it last week, and he said as soon as you're healed, like you're good to go, and he felt great. So if good old Wyman can do it, I think DeMarcus will be able to do it as well. Dexter, you jacked me up because you're talking about the Giants, and Dexter.
I know.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I also, for the longest time, called Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence. Very different people, very good friends, and I just kept messing up everyone's names constantly. So DeMarcus Lawrence is going to throw another wrench into this.
Let's go. But no, I'm telling you guys, watch the film, and especially the Browns game. I think I told y'all last week, watch like the first 3 to 4 series, and you'll see it. He does not move like a 32-year-old or a guy who's been in the league for as long as he's been in there, and he works hard, man. There's something that you see, a hunger that you see in younger guys that kind of fades away with the older guys, unless they're just great. Like, they work hard, they do their thing, but there's a tempo and an intensity to his game that makes him look like he's 28, 27 years old out there. We know he has the right mentality. Bring that thing to Seattle.
Asked if Lawrence can still play.
I think DeMarcus is one of those guys that Father Time has not caught up with him yet. I will say I was a little surprised to see the size of the contract, at his age, but good for DeMarcus. And if that's what it took to sign him, good for Seattle getting it done.
Because of the size of that contract, Babe wasn't surprised necessarily, nor are Cowboys fans, to see that he's gone.
He's an older player. They're not going to be able to pay him what other teams are going to pay him. So I don't think it was a situation. It was not the Luka Doncic trade situation where people say, oh my God. But, there's no doubt the Cowboys are losing a good player. He's going to be hard to replace. Now, they do have some young defensive ends, Sam Williams, who they spent a second-round draft pick on a couple of years ago. So there's some guys in the pipeline that I'm sure the thinking is, okay, well, we're going to get a little younger, a little cheaper, and it's time for these guys to kind of rise up and shine. But as for DeMarcus, the personality and all that, no, I think he's a leader. He's vocal.
What can DeMarcus bring the Seahawks defense that they didn't have last year?
I think he can enhance some things. Obviously, be better against the run. That's something they have shown flashes with over the past season. But I think it's more of tapping in to a bit of what Jay Reed has in him, a bit of what Leo has in him, just that fire, that dog, that go ahead and get him type of mentality. Because at times it felt like that wasn't out there. So I think that when you bring in a guy like DeMarcus, he automatically elevates everyone's game. Even if he elevates, I'm talking about everyone, from the best player on the D-line in Leo Williams to the guy that you don't even know who's on the practice squad. He's going to elevate his game. He's going to learn how to prep. And if everyone falls in line, you should be always willing and able to take something from somebody. Even guys that I play with that I didn't like, I couldn't stand them. But if they were better at something than I was, I'm going to pay attention and try to take that from his game. So other than him just working his you-know-what off, and it was nice to hear Babe say Father Time hasn't caught up with him, because I look at the film and he is moving. He can teach as well, whether that be pulling guys to the side and being a mentor or just showing you how to work. You're not accidentally in the league for 12 years.
No. If you guys haven't heard DeMarcus Lawrence's interview with Wyman and Bob, I think it was in that interview, and I'd argue in his interview with Brian Nemhauser, where I was like, oh, he's got that dog in him. And I already knew that. Like, you already know, DeMarcus is a name that everyone knew before he came here. You knew when he signed that big deal with Dallas, obviously from his time with Dallas, number 10th all time, franchise history and sacks there. But I think those two interviews were the first full-length interviews I'd listened to from his, and I came away with that. Before I get to my next DeMarcus question, Bump, when did you realize you did or did not have that dog in you? Because I know when I realized I didn't.
Oh, Stacy.
It was when I was a child. We were on a school field trip to some place that had roller coasters, and I slouched a little bit so I wouldn't be tall enough to ride it because I was too scared.
You've told me that story before.
Yeah, that was when I realized I did not have that dog in me. No dog was present. No dog was found.
I had dog. I just had the wrong breed because NFL got rid of me after a couple seasons.
It's still
just the wrong breed of dog, I guess.
But when did you realize you had that dog in you?
When?
Yeah.
2001 Friday night against St. Bernard's High School. My first start, and I went nuts on him, and I was like, oh, yeah, we good.
Matt, when did you realize you did or did not have that dog in you?
I don't think I was ever under any apprehension that I had that dog in me.
Right.
I think I've lived life dogless.
Yeah.
Dogless.
No pet owner. Me and you, not pet owners.
I just don't got it in me.
No? Yes?
I remember showing up to college the first time to play rugby and realizing, oh, these are men now.
And then you left? Or is that when you realized you had that dog in you because you were like, let's go?
Well, 6 months later, I was home with 3 herniated discs in my spine.
You got that dog in you.
Yeah. The dog kind of did it to me.
Yeah, I'm proud of you, buddy. Which facet of DeMarcus's game are you most excited to see this season? And the reason that I liked this exercise is I am excited to see that part of his game. I want violence from this defense. I want aggression. I want a punch you in the mouth mentality. And, you know, if that comes with some missed tackles once in a while, like I can deal with mistakes on defense. It happens. There's a reason defense doesn't know what the play is going to be. Like I can deal with mistakes, but I don't want to deal with the defense that doesn't have the want to. I don't think that was the case last year, but I think he adds even more want to.
Yeah, him, Leo, and Ernest and Jay Reed are going to take care of that. And don't sleep on Jay Love. Jay Love is like the nice guy who'll flip out on you if you keep messing with him. I think everyone has to play defense in this league. If you don't have a little bit of that in you, you're not going to last very long. You're not going to last very long for the most part anyway. But if you don't have that twinkle in your eye to make you go get it, you'll be out fairly quickly. So, no, I think this defense has a mentality with as far as personalities that can help them overcome some stuff.
Did you ever play with someone who didn't have that dog in him?
Yeah.
What did he
for
do?
sure.
What did he do where you were
For
like,
sure.
he doesn't have it?
I mean, it's mostly college. Once you get to NFL, it's like everyone's
you have to
got
have it. You can't fall backwards.
College, he was just softer than baby poop, man. He was a linebacker. I'm like, how did you make it here?
What do you like?
You
cry?
lied to
like,
him.
What would
He
you
just
do?
wouldn't hit nobody, and he was a crier too, man. He was
a pacifist.
Look, I got respect for everybody. But if you hop in a car with a bunch of dudes and your first play, you have the ox, and you want to listen to R&B, you ain't got that dog in you, dog.
There are, especially for a linebacker, man, like I think Wyman, this is how I know Wyman has that dog in him. I think Wyman would still take someone out.
Yeah, for sure.
Like Wyman, I think Wyman would love to have an opportunity to tackle someone and not be arrested for it. Like just give him a chance. You know what I mean?
He'll do it.
He would do it. No hesitating. What I need to know coming your way next. Get your questions in 866-979-3776.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Four-time Pro Bowl defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence is now a Seattle Seahawk. This will be his 12th season.
It shouldn't be a surprise from the standpoint of, like, last year, the first move they made was D-line, and it was to sign Leonard Williams. They're going to build up that defensive line, and, you know, it's actually looking pretty good. We still have a first-rounder from last year that has yet to explode.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Who has some of the best deals on new Fords and Isuzus in the Pacific Northwest? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who has a large selection of the highest quality used vehicles in the Pacific Northwest? That would be Wayscar Ford in Auburn. What dealership promises no games, no gimmicks, and never any pressure to purchase? Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Who's the only Ford dealer in all of Washington to offer a 5-day or 500-mile, no questions asked, 100% money-back return policy? You're getting good at this. It's Wayscar Ford in Auburn. In fact, they offer a free lifetime powertrain warranty on virtually all their new Fords. How about this one? Who's the only dealer that will purchase your used car, pay you right up front, and then once they resell your old car, return 50% of the profit back to you? Only Wayscar Ford in Auburn. They've given back over $750,000 to customers who've sold them their cars. And finally, what dealership has been family owned and operated in Auburn for 103 years? You guessed it. Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Visit them at wayscarford.com.
Is that new Samsung Galaxy A15 5G?
Yeah, I got it for free when I joined Cricket Nation.
Sounds pretty great.
At Cricket, anyone can get a new phone when they switch.
Whoa.
With a high-quality camera, meaning more flattering selfies for all, and super fast 5G, so you can post them for all to see. Your friends, your family, your ex. Free phone! Free phone!
Okay, I'll switch.
Welcome to Cricket Nation.
Cricket 5G is not available everywhere. Must bring your number to Cricket on a $60 a month voice plan. First month service charge and tax due at sale. These terms and other restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sinks overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Endless hours of research, seeking referrals, dozens of calls. Hiring the right attorney can be a challenging process during an already difficult time. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains.
In Washington State, Tom, there are thousands of attorneys to choose from. Referrals and online research can be helpful, but discovering the right attorney requires a conversation. It can be hard to identify integrity and authenticity without that interaction.
So, what do you recommend?
We encourage anyone looking for personal injury representation to call for a free consultation with our team before making a decision simply based on referrals or online research. Accident victims need an attorney that listens, demonstrates honesty, and is genuinely understanding of their unique circumstances. The care, attention, and preparation that our firm provides throughout the case mirrors the effort involved when taking on the insurance companies.
Save time and avoid mistakes after an injury. Contact the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Groundworks comes in. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at groundworks.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Hey, Bill! Got a leak? Need heat? Call Southwest today.
Southwest Plumbing, the one to call.
Protein, protein, protein. Everyone is trying to get protein in their diet, but we need fats too. Healthy fat, that is, like the rich, natural peanut and almond butters found in G2G protein bars. Most bars don't have it because, well, most bars aren't real food or refrigerated. Fortunately for you, we aren't most bars. At G2G, you'll find a balanced helping of protein and healthy fat. The fact that they're delicious is just the bonus. They're fast, easy, and perfect for on-the-go families. G2G protein bars. Find them in the refrigerated section at Costco.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
You're free now. Free to stream beyond your wildest dreams.
Rom-coms, slasher-coms, space operas.
Free to fill your feed with impossibly chonky chonkers.
Cats, corgis, babies on demand.
Free to make your smart devices do silly things.
Bowl of chips on the Robo-Vacuum.
Free to open a world of remote work and Gametopia.
Who's the boss now?
Free to be everything you imagine. That's how it feels to have Quantum Fiber Internet. Your world unleashed. Learn more at quantumfiber.com.
Limited availability, service in select locations only.
Getting engaged? At Shane Company, we'll help you find the perfect diamond. This is your engagement ring, aka only your life's most important piece of jewelry. No need to worry. As gemstone experts since 1929, we handpick only the most beautiful natural and lab-grown diamonds cut to our high standards in every price range. We have diamonds in all shapes and sizes, ready to compare side by side right here in our store. Come see for yourself at shaneco.com or at your local store. No appointment necessary. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
It's what I need to know. Get your questions into the Mac and Jack's text line, 866-979-3776. Bump, says the 425. Happy St. Patrick's Day. How will you be celebrating your Irish heritage tonight?
I'm going to go kick it with some of my Irish friends. Don't know if they're Irish, but they are today.
Some of your Irish friends?
Irish friends. I don't know if they are, but today you are. I'm going to drink some beer and call it good. And then, you know, I got responsibilities and stuff. If this was 06?
Yeah.
07?
It'd be cool.
I'm out on the streets.
It'd be cool to be Irish, I feel. I'm not Irish or English at all. And so
you probably got some Irish or English in you.
No.
Straight Italian.
Straight Italian, and my mom's German, and my grandma's from the South, so it's just Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas. What I need to know. I heard Michael Gallup is visiting the Seahawks. What are your thoughts on him?
Gallup, what did he do last year? 418, 2 touchdowns. Okay. I mean, I'm okay with this type of moves have already been made, with Marquez. This would be another depth position. He's not a guy who's going to play special teams because he's too deep into the game. So, I don't know, I'm not mad at it.
Is there a song you thought was so cool when you were young, but now you think is pretty stupid?
I like yours.
Oh, yeah. So mine was all the songs that were really cool when I was a kid that I would, blast at full volume. Like, Hey Now You're Not, like somebody once told me I used to think that song was the best because I was a child, and it was the coolest thing. But you know what's going to happen eventually? Songs that we did think went so hard. Like, I had to look up, All the Way to All the Way Turn.
Yeah.
Like, that was it when I was
Speaking
younger.
of that
and that's
one,
going to sound so dumb in a minute.
This right here is my swag. That was mine.
I'm just saying, they're going to age. In our minds, it comes on and we're going crazy, and then younger people are like, wow, that is so embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, they're remaking our stuff now, so we're officially washed.
You guys were around when Genuine came out with Pony, right?
Okay, don't insult me to my face.
Okay.
That's actually a compliment for you. You were
that's
around.
True. Thank you for asking if I was around.
That I can't hear that song without bursting out laughing.
Yeah.
It's just an unserious song to me.
That's a perfect example because you are of a slightly younger generation to where you're like, really? People thought this was like an amazing song?
I was in 7th grade when that came out.
Yeah, right? We were kids. Just,
I had no idea what he's talking about.
Not at all. Not at all. Let's see. What I need to know, Bump, this is for you. Gino and JSN clearly developed chemistry. How difficult is it for a receiver like JSN or any receiver to adjust to a new quarterback?
If you are a baller, it don't matter who's throwing you the dang ball. It's more the quarterback adjusting to JSN because he has to read his body language and his depth and all that stuff. But nah, if you're a baller, you should be fine. Just focus on the play calling and your quarterback really understanding you.
What I need to know, says the 253 Bump, when you were in college, who would have been the #1 earner for NIL?
Oh, Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
Reggie all day.
Which, I mean, he kind of was.
Yeah. I would have walked into college with a couple milli, though, for sure.
That's what would make me mad. If I were you, it'd be one thing if you were like, I was nobody. You were like a 5-star recruit. I would have been heated.
Couple milli.
Heated.
I wouldn't be here though. I probably would have went to LSU or something.
What I need to know, how important is a new tight end and who do you take?
Very important. You need a blocking tight end. I think you have a receiving one. Fant is still on the squad, so I think you're good there. I don't know. There's a bunch that you can take. There's only really 3 or 4 elite tight ends in this group. Yeah. So just get you a big old, just corn-fed Nebraska. I just want a block type of tight end.
Dang. 360. I was raised believing I was full Italian. Ancestry.com proved I'm 0%. I found out at 40 my whole life was a lie.
Dang.
Imagine going through your whole life being like, well, in Italy, in Italia, as my nonna used to say.
You could have been breaking pasta and not felt anything.
Nothing. You know what though? You spent 40 years of your life believing you were 100% Italian. I say you keep it going.
Just roll with it.
Keep it moving, honestly. Keep it, just keep doing it. Let's see. What I need to know. What's going to be the over-under in pass run total for K9 and Charbonnet?
I think
K9, that's a tough thing
K9's still going to get 15, 20.
Yeah.
Charbonnet get his 6, 7.
Let's see. What I need to know. If the Seahawks take a quarterback with one of their second-round picks, does it mean Sam Howell's time here is over?
It means that he better come into training camp and compete because it could be over.
Yeah. Oh, someone said, is that person questioning your Irish heritage?
With what question?
No, I think he was just being vulnerable. I think that was just someone telling us that they found out their life was a lie.
Yeah, mine's not, though.
Yeah.
Clearly. Have you ever seen, real talk?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a person with my complexion with an Irish accent?
No.
Never.
Well, Wales, like Welsh.
Yeah.
But I watch a lot of Love Island, so that's the difference.
I used to live in Ireland, and I could count on one hand the number of
like just black people in general you saw.
Really? See, it's like
black
when I went to England, it was first time I was 15, And that was the first time I saw a black dude in person with an English accent, and I'm just like staring at him like, just talk to me, dog. You're blowing my mind right now.
You make eye contact?
Oh, we became friends. I was like, we're kicking it. I'm here for 2 weeks.
We had one in our whole school.
Wow.
Damn.
How isolating.
And he was from Ivory Coast.
Oh.
And he had an accent?
A little bit, yeah.
What were you doing in Ireland?
I lived there like for middle school.
Yeah.
Really? We got more questions for you.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. 866-979-3776. Can you fold a fitted sheet?
No.
No,
I've
one
seen
can.
I've
Nobody
seen
can
it
do that.
on like TikTok and stuff how
Yeah.
to do it, but I don't invest
No,
time in it.
it's witchcraft. And actually, that should have been the Salem witch trial test. Can you fold a fitted sheet?
Right.
Throw her in the lake.
That thing is a ball. I just
Insane.
wrap it up.
It's impossible.
Toss it.
What I need to know, Bump, did you watch J.J. Spawn manipulated the rule to move the ball from the rough to the fairway using 2
Yeah.
club lengths over the
He
weekend?
was a smart man, so he kept dropping the ball. He had a drop. He kept dropping on the sprinkler.
Mm-hmm.
Man-made object, So now you get to measure out a club length. You get your driver,
That is
obviously,
smart.
and then you drop it in the fairway. It's perfect.
What I need to know, if you can have 2 players right now available for draft, who do you take? Oh, so like if you were guaranteed, whether available in the draft or still a free agent, that you could snap your fingers and he'd be a Seahawk, who would you take?
Right now, I'm just looking at Will Anderson, making eye contact with him.
Yeah.
What's up, dog?
Yeah.
We doing this?
Is it going to happen? Wait, Will Anderson? Or
Hernandez.
I kept it moving because I thought like any player anywhere, and I was like, great pick. And then I thought, wait, no, I know what he means. If Ashton Genty's available at 18, do we take him?
Take it. You have to. Best available.
At
Take
18.
him. He's not going to be there.
No, he won't.
If he's there,
But-
you're going to pass on Genty? Heck no.
So Genty will just be blocking and running for himself.
Him and K9 are competing.
K9 can block for Genty. No, I'd be curious. I'm fascinated by the draft. I can't wait as we kind of inch closer. I'm sure, probably in about 2 weeks, we're going to start a bunch of previews.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Can't believe it's already happening. All right. Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob. Weekdays 2 to 7.
Your 2 most prominent players on offense said, I want out of here.
If you ask the texters, they would say both of them have attitude problems.
We'll see what Geno signs for. If he signs for somewhere in around 40 to 45, what does that say about how he felt about Seattle?
You got to put a lot of faith in John Schneider and Mike McDonald. John said, we're not going to do anything that hurts the team. The team is number 1, the player is number 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I've always said, the car sales in the 1980s and 1990s, earned the rep that we have today. The concerns that consumers have because of what has happened in our industry in the past, they're warranted. It's our job to show them that that's not how business is done anymore, right? It's very different business. It's much more transparent. There's much more information that's available to people. And we're much more customer focused than I think the car industry was, 20, 30 years ago. I'm more focused on providing good customer service and relationships because I think if you take care of people, money will always come. So I think just the philosophy and the focus for us has changed, where I was constantly chasing a paycheck and now I'm just constantly trying to take care of customers and employees because I know if I do that, then my paycheck will take care of itself.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just 1 day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed 1-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
The brackets are now open. Compete in the Seattle Sports Bracket Bucks presented by Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Head to seattlesports.com/win to pre-register. Receive your bracket and compete for your shot at great prizes. The grand prize winner from the 64-team bracket will win $1,000 in Visa gift cards. But if your bracket is busted in the first round, we have other ways for you to play too. Register and find complete rules at seattlesports.com/win.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress. Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep, $149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, because this deal's for a limited time. $149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves